Friday, 6th of October, 2023. As we get ready for the morning show, I welcome us all again. And a very good morning, everyone. And we're joining the studio in just 30 seconds. And then we can start the program for the day. All right, let's roll out to the studio. Did I start this? No, not yet. Let's start with the mixer as well. You need to drop down the noise there, please. Boy. Thanks. Fake life on Instagram and chat. Interesting cover ahead.
Well, listeners, that's Starr in the UK radio station in London, bringing the time now to 10 minutes past 11. Like we say on this platform, don't give up, don't throw in the towel, whatever you're doing, keep on keeping on. I don't say you don't know how to be something. Well, broke your pencils to write. But don't you worry, we'll bring you some law music during the course of the program. But now, let me take you straight to our North London studios where my brother and colleague, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, is, where we are already fire on all cylinders telling you what is exactly is happening in Nigeria. But let me say, Yomi, good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie. Not too sure if my camera is on.
Yeah, it's frozen again.
All right, it's going to come back on in just about a few minutes. It's going to come back on. A very good morning to you, as if you can hear me back in the studio, and a very good morning to all our viewers and listeners from around the world, and welcome once again to the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes. How are you doing? How is the family?
Well, the family are doing very well. We're grateful, and I hope yours are doing great as well.
Yeah, they are all doing great. Getting ready for the weekend. You know, at least we can rest a bit. But there's no rest for the weary. Well, listen, we hope that you also enjoying and you are also having a good day, whatever it is. Well, yeah, we keep on doing what we want to be doing because we love to be with you. Now, interestingly, well, the Tinubu certificate saga seems to be causing lots of problems. But let me bring you this one first. That talks about a tweet that is allegedly has resurfaced. And this tweet, where did it come from? Who did it come from? Talking about somebody presenting, if anyone presents one certificate to INEC, he is doomed. Tell us more.
Well, before I tell you more, let's start with this. Let's start with this. Let's start with this video.
No, sir. No, you have gone to my... Okay, good morning, sir. Oh, my powerful CEO, JJ Laye Nigeria Limited. No, sir, I couldn't come to the office today, sir. My document. Which one, sir? The one I submitted? Yes, the one submitted to my office for my employment. Oh, guys, not for Joe. I didn't forge it, oh. No, sir. No, you have gone to my school. Okay, I'm a director in this company now, and you know I've been working. I've been working with you for so long. I'm a director now. What? How can I? The truth has come out. You cannot sack me. You cannot sack me. Even our guy in our country now, or guy in our country that even forged his own too. They didn't, okay, they didn't sack him now. They didn't sack him, but you cannot sack me. Oh. They didn't sack our leader in our country now. That forged his own. Okay, you cannot sack me. Oh. You cannot sack me. Oh. Okay, you cannot sack me. They didn't sack our own leader in our country, like Nigeria now. They didn't sack him now. He forged his own too now. I'm not the only one. Oh. You cannot sack me. Oh. Please. You have to forgive me. Oh. Maybe it's an error. Please. You cannot. I'm fired. Or that only fire me, sir. You cannot fire me. You cannot fire me. Just to learn about our guy here. They didn't sack him. You cannot sack me. Please. I'm coming to the office. Please.
Well, that shows how Nigerians have been, running with this powerful video that has been trending yesterday. Well, it is Festus Keyamo, the senior advocate of Nigeria, the also Minister for Aviation, said, and I quote, in 2019, 4 years after Keyamo's statement, it has now backfired when the Chicago State University, in a deposition, confirmed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu forged the certificate. In 2019 tweet by the President Bola Tinubu, Federal Minister of Aviation, saying, people who presented forged certificate to Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will be legally disqualified from the elected offices as per the 1999 Constitution, as backfire at its principle because of the entangle in the same act.
Well, who is Festus Keyamo?
The Minister for Aviation.
Listen, this is a proper shooting yourself in the foot, right?
That's why they say don't throw the stone in the glass house. You never know who is there.
But it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting because the lawyers of Atiku has come to say that, well, they see those discrepancies and have actually, he said the Chicago record, Tinubu betrayed me. I'll fight till Supreme Court verdict, says Atiku. Now, it all depends on what the Supreme Court is going to be doing or giving a verdict. Yesterday we were talking about what the Chief Justice of Nigeria has said, that it's not, you don't use the Ferrari that is in the public domain, the noise that the public or the community is making to make decisions, but everything should be done per the Constitution. And that's why I've been asking the question, what does the Constitution say about forged documents in our elections? But Atiku, I think that it's got the wind in his sails and it's going to be flying like no man's business. Yomi.
Well, I'm not too sure. Maybe the planned international media was not well put together because it was a very tight room. There was a lot of apology, from Atiku Abubakar and his team. But the message still went ahead at about 3 p.m., which is about 1500 hours for those of us in Europe. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party at the 2023 poll, Atiku Abubakar, seems to be, saying thank you so much to Gani Fawehinmi. And I picked on what Sowore said before we go back to Atiku. Sowore said, and I quote, when the late Chief Gani Fawehinmi exposed President Bola Tinubu, as at the time he was a governor, as a fraud, a certificate forger in 1999, he was actually humiliated. His car was smashed. Atiku ignored him and he died as a broken man. I'm talking about Gani Fawehinmi, may so rest in peace. Sowore went ahead to say, Atiku then went ahead to form alliances with Tinubu because he suited him and his ilk political. But in 2008, when Sahara reporter got hold of his drug forfeiture case in Chicago, the platform was also ridiculed. But it seems Atiku is not just saying, thank you so much to Chief Gani Fawehinmi. He even went further to thank David Odoye. David Odoye is an investigative journalist for bringing this up. He thanked a lot of Nigerians, for bringing this up as well. But the question is, rather he said that the former Lagos State governor abandoned him as well as the Action Congress of Nigeria and supported Yar'Adua in the PDP in the 2007 presidential poll. Atiku also recalled how he saved Tinubu by not allowing the former president Olusegun Obasanjo to take over Lagos State in 2007. As at the time that the current president was the governor of Lagos State, there was a rift between himself and the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. Atiku is reminding us that he actually saved Tinubu as at the time. However, the All Progressive Congress has knocked Atiku following his Thursday attack on Tinubu, saying his ill-timed press conference was actually in the gross contempt of the Supreme Court. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio. It seems that this is not going anywhere yet. But Atiku said, and I quote, "Whatever the outcome from the Supreme Court, I will accept my fate."
Okay, if he said that he's going to accept his fate, then let's see. But as we were saying yesterday, we hope that it doesn't set a bad precedent, like that video that has been going viral in Nigeria. Because if the president, the first gentleman of the land, is said to have forged a document and that doesn't work against him, then I cannot sack anybody who has a forged document. That lady who forged a certificate that she had A stars or whatever, and that now she's being taken to court. I bet you she'll be sitting there rubbing her hands.
And she was even dragged to apologize. Remember, she was brought onto the media to apologize for that. Yeah. But again, like you said, the video of the young man yesterday saying, "Oh God, you cannot sack me. You cannot sack me." I mean, even our Oga at the top had the forged certificate and nobody has sacked him. But maybe the Supreme Court will eventually sack Bola Tinubu as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is something that as many of us would have to wait for that.
Okay, listeners, it's quite interesting. But have there been any reaction from the presidency at all, from the president himself? Has it been seen after this certificate came out?
Well, politicians, I don't think they have shame anyway. So, but again, what I can tell you from the angle of the president, this is what happened at about 1900 hours so far on his tweet, on his X page. I believe that there is no vehicle that can transport you to your destination as safely as education. It is the reason every child, regardless of their background, awaits a future of vast possibility. As we celebrate the Nigerian teachers on this year World Teachers Day, I would like to restate that under my watch, teachers will get their due reward. Education is the miracle that changes the fortune of a family in the single generation. Happy World Teachers Day. I know you want me to go straight to the comment section, and this is part of, I think the former British High Commissioner, Katrina Lang, eventually locked our comment section because of the comment that was coming through, especially from the Biafra. She eventually have to lock it. But let's look at what Aye Mojuba said. Happy Certificate Forgery Day. Adenike with a lot of smile emojis. Why is your certificate shaky shaky daddy? The Vuvuzela is televised. Verified certificate and a lot of images coming up. Certificate forger, not my president. Certificate forger, not my president. And this person says, teachers are not certificate forgers. They reject this facilitation. It is the audacity for me. So you can see the reaction, but somebody went to say, thank you, Mr. President, with a clapping hand and 3 Nigerian flag emojis.
Well, mixed reactions there. I will be telling you more about all that during the course of the program. Olakunle, let me say good morning to you. He said, morning, Mr. Archie and White Lion. Love and respect to you both. We also give you 101% love and respect as well. Listen to Starr Radio UK, Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. Okay. Now, this is a story that worries me. The NNPC, GMD, quietly awards control of Nigerian pipelines to Northern Oil Cabal. Now, we have Samuel Eba in the southeast. We have Sunday Igboho, who is now in exile in Benin. They are all talking about the fact that, look, they said, look, we think our people are being marginalized. What is due them, they are not getting. They are not giving a fair share of the national cake. Now, if this was put at a place where everybody could bid, okay, a system that everybody could bid, and the best bidders got it, we say, okay, but this is not the case. But they say quietly, giving those awards or contracts to these ones. And therefore, people were saying that, once again, empowering those in the north at the behest of those in the south. Yomi.
Well, it was almost 3 hours going through what Professor Adebanji Akintoye said when it comes to towards the Yoruba self-determination. The Yoruba nation chooses the noble path to its noble goal. It was a manual for the Yoruba self-determination struggle for the Yoruba nation advocate at home and abroad, and it actually detailed this next headline. But also, I've seen the government in exile. I've also, responded to that. I'm talking about, Simon Ekpa that you mentioned. But what are we talking here? We're talking about Mele Kayari, the managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, has steadily awarded juicy rehabilitation contract of the nation's pipeline to 4 oil companies that include 2 downstream retailers, a move that is tantamount to handing the retailers control of the pipeline at the risk of exploiting other retailers' outlets and Nigerians at large. Oilserve Limited, AA Reno Nigerian Limited, Maka Ready Oil and Gas Service Company Limited, and MRS Oil Nigerian PLC were the 4 companies awarded the lucrative contract of maintaining the country's pipeline to fast-track the flow of crude oil to refineries and transport its product back to the country. There's no problem if this was done, properly. Remember, we talked about the Zunguru power plant that also have been given to a private company for 30 years to manage, so that Nigeria will be able to repay back $1.2 billion the Chinese Exim Bank loan towards that project. We hope that project will eventually start working from this month, as we were told, and we'll be giving updates on that. But going back to this particular NNPC, speculations are now rift that the Northern Cabal is still in charge of the nation's petroleum sector, despite President Muhammadu Buhari's former nepotistic presidency have ended since May. Maybe this new administration is still working his way around to find out the right person to replace this individual called Mele Kayari. But the question then is, AA Reno Nigeria Limited and MRS Nigeria Limited, these are 2 retailer businesses owned by 2 northerners, Ahulu Reno and Sayatu Dantata, respectively. This is what the Simon Ekpa, the government in exile of the Biafra, said, and I quote, while the SOC and is actually responding with a screenshot of these NNPC GMD quietly award control of Nigerian pipeline. He said, and I quote before coming back again to you in the studio at 11:26 a.m. Star Radio UK. While the so-called Ebonyi State governor doesn't know anything about the salt mining in his state, the Northern Islamics are controlling oil in the Biafra land.
Well, listen, this is quite an interesting one, isn't it? But, well, now, let me acknowledge, Shemiyu Adeyemi says, good morning, Koiki, Archie, and the rest of the team. Good morning to you. Hope you are doing very, very well. Thank you very much for joining us on the YouTube channel as well as many of you on the sister broadcast and the various platforms. We salute each and every one of you. Now, when it comes to bidding in Nigeria, bidding for contracts like that, how does it work? Is there a system? Is there a way so that we will know that maybe this one is a dodgy deal that has gone on, or maybe they said, well, we opened a bid, and they are the ones who bid it, and they are the ones whose bids were good for the nation, and that's why we get the contract to them. Do you have any information pertaining to that?
Well, I mean, from what I know, you have to go through the due diligence, bidding. But the question is, was the bidding itself advertised for many other countries or many other opportunity for other Nigerians to also bid towards these juicy contract? I mean, the question is, when it comes to the oil and gas in Nigeria, it is who you know, and it is all about, they rub my shoulder, I rub your shoulder, and quietly, like you had in that report, it is quietly. If this wasn't something that is flagged out today, no one, myself and Nigerians, will not be aware that this juicy contract that is meant to be advertised and allow everyone to decide whether they will also bid along the line. But it is not the first time that this is happening in Nigeria. Nigeria is just a country that continue, to not just surprise us. Remember that on Monday this week, the 2nd of October, we were talking about Dizaini Alison Madueke that have been charged, for the alleged allegation against her was all got to do with a gained juicy contract awarded. And if I go back to, the National Crime Agency that gave us the reason why we were at the court on Star Radio UK on Monday was not just because of Alison Madueke was somebody that they wanted to see. She was a suspect according to Andy Kelly, head of the National Crime Agency International Cooperation Unit, said, "We suspect Dizaini Alison Madueke that has abused her power in Nigeria, accepted financial rewards for awarding multi-million pound contract. I hope that by the time Meli Kaira is also completing his tenure, we must start thinking maybe an allegation against him that will probably pin him down. But until then, we will have to wait for what is going to happen from the new president, whether this is going to be something that they will have to look into. Remember that, the current administration is still feel very young. And I'm sure as he has changed a lot of securities and other areas, the NNPC is not one area that he has touched yet. But he has touched on the CBN, he has touched on the security, but a lot of Nigerians will be waiting for see. It has actually sucked so much, trillions of naira, and many Nigerians have not seen the result on their table.
Well, listen, this is quite an interesting one, isn't it? But with this news coming up and the speculation, let me put it that way, and allegation or alleged and the hand dealings that is gone on, do you think that will prompt the national financial crimes agency or any regulatory entity to say that let's go investigate it so that the public will know that everything is above water? You think we're going to see anything of the sort?
Well, the EFCC, works. Remember that the previous chairman of the EFCC is still also now under the custody of the DSS. So, Nigeria is all about the cruise, but we have to be sure that this present administration is ready, to walk into and find as many corruption that have taken place, under the previous administration. The NNPC must be really, really audited so that we can find out what has gone in and what has come back in. But the question is, remember that also by end of December, we are told that the first refinery will start production. We will have to wait and see.
Let me say good morning to Shamsuddin. I hope you are doing very, very well. And thank you very much for joining us as well. Anthony Adedaji, lots of hearts to you. Love you, my brother. I will hope you are doing well. Shamsuddin says, Baba, wow, Koni Baje,
Koni Baje.
Okay, good. So I'm learning, right? Good. Now listen to Star Radio. Okay. Now let's move on to one other story. Insecurity. Now insecurity. We thought that maybe with the inception of the new government, we have been saying that a new sheriff in town. There are a lot of things that is going on at the moment in Nigeria, but insecurity still is ravaging the country. But we have the situation where the Senate has summoned the service chiefs and demanded special military operation. What are they talking about then? Now the service chiefs come with their own white paper or whatever they want, their plans or the way they wanted to deal with it. Unless of course whatever they are putting across, they've not been able to put it together yet. So why are the Senate inviting them there, and what different? I mean, just going to be Jojo, or are they going to see a special military operation in Nigeria?
Well, the Red Chamber, which is the Senate, has a lot of work, and on the screen right now is the Senate President, Godwill Akpabio, and to the left and to the right hand side are some of the faces of the most deadliest terrorist organization operating in Nigeria, from ISIS to Al Qaeda. It seems that Nigeria is now the breeding ground, but I believe that the new administration wants to wipe them off, but that can only happen if there's a serious engagement, intelligent gathering, but worried by the worsening insecurity in the country. And we are not joking. I mean, we can just go on and on and on. Since this administration have taken control and the previous one that was there for 8 years, Buhari was a failure because he couldn't tackle the insecurity. Because why? Buhari was protecting his clan from perpetrating crime against humanity, across Nigeria. But this time around, is a new person in town, and we expect some kind of changes. We have on this picture right there that you can see in front of the screen, to your left is the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General C.G. Musa. The next person is Chief of Army Staff, Major General T.A. Lagbaja. And the one next to that is Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral E.A. Ogala. And the last one to the right-hand side is Chief of Air Staff, AVM H.B. Abubakar. Well, the Senate have now called them, for what we can call some kind of, summon the service chiefs yesterday. The upper chamber took the decision on Thursday after deliberating what we call a motion on the kidnap of 5 female students from the Federal University, Dunsu Mani, Katsina State on Wednesday. This is the latest kidnap. We're not talking about the one that took place on the 17th of August, where the NYSC couple that were traveling from Akwa Ibom to Sokoto State have paid ransom, but yet they've not been released. Those that have been summoned are the names that I've given, also to be invited are the Inspector General of the Police, Olukaode Egbetokun. There's so much what we call the one chance. I don't know whether you know what chance means. You get into a vehicle thinking that these are cabs that can take you for where the destination has been agreed. You eventually been robbed and pushed away from the moving motion of the vehicle. A young woman died last week because of the one chance. Well, not because of just the one chance. She got to the hospital in Federal Capital Territory, Bagwalaja, and you know what? The hospital literally closed the door. And I'm not joking. They literally closed the door because they were not going to accept her. Well, also that will be attending is Nuri Badu, the National Security Advisor. What are the lawmakers expecting? They are asking the security agency to be more proactive, ensure the rescue of the adopted female student, as well as the COP members kidnapped by terrorists in Zamfara State. They are also urging the military conduct special operation to dislodge bandits in the northwest. But it seems that the security are more concerned as they continue to create genocide in the southeast of Nigeria with the engagement with the Biafrans.
A sad situation that happens there. Peru, let me say good morning to you. There's this morning, Mr. Archie and Mr. Koiki. And we salute you. Hope you're doing very, very well. Thank you for joining us as well. Well, but Yomi, it's disturbing because if you have security, that is when you are able to wake up. You can go to your farm, you can go and farm, you can go to your work, you can work, late, and you know that you get home safely and all that. But insecurity, and then we call him there, and we have the president going global, threatening, saying that, well, he was calling in or trying to get more foreign investors into the country. But this is insecurity. That has ranged, to a height where the Senate now have to invite this one to say, set up and do something. You think it's about that time that they may be giving them another week or something, they don't perform, then they say they are fired? You think that can happen?
Well, we might have to give them some time, to be able to find out, if they are capable, with their experience to be able to tackle, this menace of insecurity that has ravaged through almost every part of Nigeria today. I was picking up on the Twitter from Olubumi, African Confidential, that says, you can no longer travel, along Nigerians, road today. But it seems that Nigerians also, he was asking that, the food and the insecurity in the country, is that the cause from the ESN and the IPOP? Many will have to answer that. But like I said, the manual script of Professor Banja Akintoye is a 35-page, went through it yesterday. It took 3 hours, to read it out, and it's still on the platform for those that might want to go through it. The most important thing that he talked about on page 6 of that particular article that he wrote, altogether, Nigerians seems to have advanced to the precepts of the terminal catalysm, a huge, unimaginable, fiendish, and all-devastating holocaust. In spite of Nigerian federal government claims that the fundamentalist terrorist organization Boko Haram is being fought and reduced. In Nigeria Northeast, the manifest reality is that Boko Haram has been flourishing, expanding, and they now stand at the peak of its power. The Nigerian armed force cannot or must non-Fulani Nigerians believe do not want to win. Well, that was during the previous administration, but the question then is, how do we deal with these individuals that have now perpetrated every part of Nigeria? The Nigerian army are now have to force to fight against the ISIS from the land of the defeated Iraq and Syria and Al-Qaeda, from the Islamic Maghreb, the Akan from Libya. Some sort of collaboration has literally manifested, evolved, linking the Fulani Maradon forces, the Boko Haram. So we now have just not one individual terrorist operating in Nigeria. We have multiple of them. And taking you back to the U.S. security alert on Nigeria, which was just about a few weeks ago, going back from what we have from Nigeria, beef up security after the U.S. and the U.K. says that the terror are warming up. The question is, will President Bola Ahmed Tinubu be able to get the grip with the security architect to dissolve and disband these terrorist organizations that have literally collapsed the economy of Nigeria, because most Nigerians now can hardly go to farm?
I was with Rachel. My Rachel, yes, she says that how can a corrupt president want to correct the corrupt people? That's a good one there. If it goes to equity, must go with a clean hand. But this time around, if I come, I'm going to get an appointment from the president. I went to Oxford University. I have a doctorate degree. Yeah? Okay, you want me to from today onward, I have a certificate. Doctorate degree. Yes, I'm taking to the president. He can give me appointment for foreign affairs minister. Well, it's quite interesting. But let's come to the story again. Now, I'm asking myself the question: all these groups, these terrorist groups that are functioning there, and the mayhem they are causing across the country. Now, what are their demands? What do they want? Because we know that ISIS was looking to form an Islamic state. Is that what they are still going on? They don't want to turn the whole of Nigeria to an Islamic state? And then we know that Boko Haram was saying that they were against anything Western. Meanwhile, they are driving cars. So where do they get those things from? If they want to go Western proper, they should be sitting on camels and using bow and arrow. Then we know that proper. So what are the questions? What do they want? And what do they want government to do? If government wants to say, okay, let's sit down, let's talk. What do they want?
Well, what I want is to take control of the territory, and that is something that I would prefer to have. The northern part of Nigeria has literally gone off the Hausas, is now in control of the Fulanis. Most of the governors are from that region. But the question then is that when you go back to, again, it's all about the history of Nigeria. Let's take you back, just about a few minutes. The constitutional framework for the aberration in the management of Nigeria is gradual and relentless destruction of the federal order under which Nigeria had become independent in 1960. Until 1945, the British creators of Nigeria had pursued no clear policy for the welding Nigeria together as one country. The result had been that two distinct sections of the country, the North and the South, had essentially gone their different directions. The constitution that were written in 1949 to 1959 by the British for Nigeria became the first constitution uniting Nigeria as a one country. Out of deference to the great ethnic and diversity of Nigeria, the constitution ordered Nigeria as a federation of three regions. The North remained as one territorial, overwhelmingly large region, while the smaller but more thickly populated South was split to two regions. The question is, what do they want? They want to take control of the territory, and by doing that, they'll be able to take control of some of the part of what is known as West Africa. If Nigeria fall into that, you can imagine Ghana, Togo, Benin Republic. Remember that we're still having a lot of fight going on with the same mindset of the same terrorists in Mali, Burkina Faso, and as well, most other regions as well. And this is why fighting these is not just about Nigeria or Africa, is a problem that eventually might come back for those international communities.
Now, let me talk about two things here. Now, I was thinking of the view that this is what the ECOWAS should have been focusing on. Because if it spills out of control in Nigeria with all these terrorist activities and everything that is happening in the Sahel area, it's going to spread to Ghana, it's going to spread to Togo. Out of Benin, they are Latin country, they just run over them, and it's going to be bad. But it looks like they're not concentrating on that. And they are just thinking of going to Niger to go fight Niger and say that put the president back on. And then the other one is the local or the state security forces. We had the Amotekon, which is in the southwest. As whether they are still working, it's another question there. Yomi.
Well, the Amotekun are still functioning, but what the previous administration did was to try to make sure that their shoulders were cut off the wings. One of the only states that was working very hard with Amotekun in the southwest was Ondo State. But like I said, they are still operating, but we hope that with the new administration, they can be empowered a little bit more so that they can work towards, supporting the current security architects in some, in the southwest. The same thing goes back again to the southeast, where they have their own security architect, and also in the northern part of Nigeria. But going back to T.Y. Danjuma, the former Nigerian Minister of Defense, says, and I quote, "The Fulani-led federal government of Nigeria never intervened to resist any of this terrorism. In fact, the experience of the victims of the terrorism has commonly been that the federal security agencies hardly ever intervene to protect them against the terrorists. In fact, the operatives of the federal agency are frequently reported as colluding with the Fulani killers." This was the former non-Fulani Nigerian Minister of Defense, General T.Y. Danjuma.
Interesting. This is the Starr Radio UK. So the displaced people who have moved from their various communities in the north, due to all these insurgencies and stuff, where are they? Well,
they're all different. Mostly in the northeast. Some of them are in Zamfara State. Some of them are in Benue. We have, different, IDP camps across Nigeria. And that, again, is a question that needs to be looked into in terms of their well-being. Most of them cannot return back home because of the insurgency that has created so much problems in their community. So mostly they are all condensed into one population in the IDP camp. And the United Nations has frequently been in Nigeria to look into such, IDP camps. The welfare there is very, very poor. And you know why? Because corruption goes on again with people that are already going through a lot.
Well, let's start already UK. Now, will the federal government, especially now that we have a Yoruba person as the president, will he be looking at the chances of arming the Amotekun, the state, especially, looking at them, so that, security is kept, because we saw that because Buhari came from the north, or that he was scared and maybe decided, no, I don't want to arm them. But we know that they cannot go and then be chasing people out when they just have made what, a bow and arrow or a stick, a trenchant, to say that they are going to use that. So they need to be armed. Are they going to say to do something of the sort? Do you see anything of the sort happening to bring about the security, at least in that part of the country?
Well, yeah, most likely. I could say there will be some changes. Remember that we have, different, individuals that are now in the affairs, from the previous military architect. We have the Inspector General of Police from the Southwest. But most importantly, it's all about the intelligence gathering. The Nigerian security must be able to detect and then train, equipped, even the officers that most of them doesn't have the right, equipment to fight, these. We've seen the Nigerian vehicles, military breaking down. All these are not, very encouraging for the military that wants to also loyally protect the citizens of Nigeria.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Wherever and however you are listening to us from, we salute you. Yoruba for life. A super good morning to you, Archie and the White Lion himself. You have a blissful weekend to yourself and all the tech team. We want to salute you, Yoruba for life. We pray that You also have a very good weekend, wherever you might be, especially those of you watching us live. Okay. Now, let me give the rest to you so that you can bring us all that is happening next. Over to you, sir.
Well, as we were still talking about the displaced person, the grass-eating Zamfara woman and her children displaced by the bandit gets a bit of recognition. A relief has come to the way of a woman, Awawu Aliru, and her children that were displaced by the bandit and forced to eat grass to survive in Zamfara State. Governor Daudu Lawal's attention was earlier drawn to the heart-wrenching video clip, which had gone viral on the social media platform, which is a new media that can become good and bad depending on what you're using it for. According to the press statement on Friday today, the governor's spokesperson Sulaiman Idris says that Lawal hosted the woman at the government house, also provided her with a new home along with a scholarship for the children. The statement said the plight of the displaced women highlights the urgent need for actions to address the root cause of displacement and ensure that families have access to the necessities. Well, this is a good one from the governor, and we hope others can also be taken care of. Well, let's go to the screen. There is the information minister, and I'm sure that is the president from the right. What is the headline to read? Federal government says Tinubu sincere to Nigerians despite lying about the Chicago State University certificate. The Minister of Information, and this is now no longer Lai Mohammed, but we'll have to monitor and see. Mohammed Idris says President Bola Tinubu was sincere to Nigerians in alleviating the hardship being faced in the country. Mr. Idris actually made this at the business lunch organized for him and other minister by the newspaper proprietors of Association of Nigeria, NEPAM, on Thursday in Abuja. Drawing reference from the recent negotiation with the labor union, the minister says that the government delegation had to get back to the president when the labor unions were adamant that the least they would take was 40,000 naira. So that is coming from that headline. I will take two more from the business because of the time constraint already, and then we're going to start going straight to the social media. Discontinuation of spirit import will reduce forex demand. Remember that the Dangote refinery is meant to be something that will reduce that, but again, it's still work in progress. The German-Nigerian trade volume have now gone up to 3 billion euro as of 2022. High mortgage cost orders deprive Nigerian access to homes. Also, depots deserted as petrol landing costs has now hit 720 naira per liter. Interior ministers want prisoners to grow their own food. Well, imagine telling Ike Kirimadu that is in the prison to grow his own food here in the UK. Well, Ike Kirimadu is here with us, and he'll be here for a very long time until he completes his term, according to the guilty for bringing, a minor, to UK for that kidney transplant. Federal government AFC partner on data gathering to boost mining. This is coming from the Solid Mineral Resources Development as partner with African Finance Corporation on data gathering to de-risk investment in the mining sector. This is coming from Dilalake, the Minister for Solid and Minerals. During the visit by the President and the CEO of African Finance Corporation, riding on that existing partnership between the AFC and the Solid Minerals Development Fund, Dr. Alake said the ministry was consolidated on this partnership to develop necessary data needed to advance $700 billion revenue value under the big data strategy. We hope all these figures, all this money will eventually mean something for Nigerians, for development and the progress for those that still want the country to go ahead. Well, Simon Ekpa is trending at about just 9,000 this morning. Renault is trending, and the most important trend so far is the Supreme Court. And as many people are waiting to what is going to be the outcome. Well, it seems that many have now remembered the late Gani Fawehinmi that also was part of so many protests. It was battered by the military. And this video that I've got here, we can't get the audio, but says, this is Gani Fawehinmi leading an anti-military government protest in Lagos. You see the young Nigerians behind him, ready to die for their country. This is what our generations lack. We do not have the Gani of our generation, and no leader is ready to make the same sacrifice. Well, Sunday Igboho wanted to make that same sacrifice. Nnamdi Kanu wanted to make that same sacrifice. Sowore wants to make that same sacrifice. But you know what? They were all battered and they were almost killed. One was kidnapped, one is in exile, and the one in Nigeria, Sowore, is still someone that is standing firm, even though many Nigerians says he needs to start as a chairman of the local government. As we wind down the weekend, we hope, as much as the former minister and the former governor of Lagos State, Babajide Fashola, says, we shouldn't use the word "may Nigeria happen to you." Well, I say, may Nigeria not happen to you, depending on whatever Nigeria means to you. And on that note, I'll come back again to you in the studio. And again, this is the Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Tomorrow, there's an event coming up in Ibadan. The Akikoju Obirin, they are hosting, one of the most important engagement when it comes to the Yoruba Nation awareness and campaign. That is all going to be taking place in Ibadan tomorrow. And as we say, the struggle continue. As Baba Akintoye says, it is a struggle that we need to win as well. And also, as we say all the time, the Asha Atishe is a program that is also coming up in the next couple of days as they are preparing for what we call the culture. It is all about the wrestling, the beauty contest, the cultural dance, and also as the Biafrans prepare for what are known as the referendum that is coming up in Finland. We'll be monitoring all that and we'll be giving all the feedback. But for now, it is the weekend with the Starr Radio UK, and I'll be leaving you with Archie. And as I say, may Nigeria never happen to any one of us.
Yes, may Nigeria never happen to any one of us. They said we shouldn't say that. We see it happening to people, and we can say that may it not happen to any one of us. If he wants it to happen to him, good luck to him. Well, let's start already. Okay, Yami, let me say thank you very much for that wonderful update. Have a lovely weekend, and we catch up later.
Have a very good morning, and bye for now, Mr. Archie.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki from our North London studios, who was bringing you updates from Nigeria. It was quite a comprehensive one. And to all of you who commented on the various platforms, I salute each and every one of you. It's 5 minutes to the top of the hour at a time.
Here we go again. It's a Friday edition. Where do we start? What are you cooking? Yeah. Mama Joe. Come on, me to my party. Ekaro, Grandma, Salafia. How you doing, everyone? As everybody they look my face, I did say, what think this guy go talk again today? I want us to start from where I picked it up last night. It is still the most important area that I want us to touch on. My laptop is definitely messing up now. Until we fix it, we might have to be managing one laptop until I get, this one is definitely not even working anymore now. I mean, each time I open up the Chrome, it says the memory is low. So I have to get the hard drive in, increase the capacity and see how it goes. So we will have to be managing, the little mobile phones and the laptop that we are using right here. So I wanted to start the program straight from there, but it was not going to give me the opportunity. I'm going to speak more of Yoruba, but I'll carry along as many of you. Mo fẹ́ padà sí ibi tí mo bá ọ̀rọ̀ dé lánàá lórí the Baba Akintoye manual, and I want to gauge some of what many of you think from what I read towards the end about how the Yoruba nation could become reality. And I want to read as many of what you are all saying. I'm not going to go through everything again. I've done 3 hours on that. And Tobati will program that. I beg you to go and download it and read it. I mean, and listen to it. You don't have to read it. I was the one doing the reading. All you just have to do is just listen and see what Nigeria means to you. Many of you don't know what Nigeria means to you. You're just saying Nigeria. Go and listen to what 3 hours it took me yesterday to go through the 35 page. I've been saying I was going to do it. Last night, I eventually take it out. So it will be in record. and I have to download it even before. Let's start the other Facebook from here. Facebook has become a rubbish platform, so it's not really keen about it anymore like I used to. So let's start the Facebook here, and then at least capture. Good morning to those of you on the Twitter space. I think we should have 1 or 2 or 3 people there. Yeah, we have a few people there that are with us as well. Thank you for joining us. So Koiki Media Live Friday program. Shout out to everyone. And in the 6th of October, shout out to the Egypt, Antoine Cairo, Honorable Anike. I spoke to her this morning. Kudos to, congratulations for the central office launching in Cairo over the weekend last week. Thank you so much to Dr. Kebion Kosi. I was in a meeting with him yesterday with some of the medias. We do work a lot behind the scene. So when we say we are working behind the scene, yes, do for me as well. You make stew for me as well. Put stew for me as well. Did you put mine? Did you cook for me? Should be able to take 2 of us. We should be able to take 2 of us because I'm hungry. So thank you so much for the work that everyone is doing. We are all playing a role. It's a tough role. It's a tough task. It's just like the same politicians that are working hard to keep Nigeria. So as they're trying to keep Nigeria, we are trying to unbundle it. So we are up against a very, very tough situation, especially if we don't have the kind of money the politicians have. If we have the kind of money that they have, we will do more in creating awareness. But since we don't have that kind of money, we have to manage what we have, which is just the social media. Thank you so much to some of you that still believe in us, because not everybody believes in us anymore. But there's nothing we can do to that. But I'm not going to be referencing to all these, idiots that don't have a clue of what we are talking about. Don't believe in us anymore. And because of that, I'm not talking about even those that are split the movement. If I have the kind of money that the politicians are working with, I share you with comfort. We will be able to do a lot. You can see why the Biafra every week, don't donate to war every week, because they need to fund it. Nobody's going to fund the movement for you. But many people think you don't need money. I mean, I don't know why you say we don't need money. I keep asking myself. On Sunday, I met the group that are protesting against thank you so much, Mr. Fakorede Moses, Mokia, our Comfort, Adile, and Grandma First Bank, and the rest of you, Mommy Grace, and the rest. I will greet as many of you. I'm just setting up So when people say we don't need money, so what do we need to run this movement? Blood. Just be walking, talking. I mean, I don't know, and it's because many people believe that what these women that came and started talking rubbish. So in that way, many people feel, oh, the movement has been compromised. The movement, we have donated money and we cannot do. Look, we have to fund it. Some of you cannot do what we are doing. So it is vice versa. While some of us are out there, trying to push the message every day. The same narrative, with the politicians, they are pushing. Go and look at what Dino Mala is trying to do now. It's campaigning. He will have spent nothing less than 100 million for so far campaign to keep Nigeria together. He'll probably do a governor if they vote for him as a PDP. He'll be there for 4 years or 8 years like Yaya Bello. He will probably do 1 or 2 things, in the country, in the state. But in the long run, we are still in Nigeria. So how do we compete? Thank you so much, Mr. Fab. How do we compete as an organization, whether as a standing media, as the main body for the Yoruba self-determination? We are not doing leaflets. We are not doing anything. And we just want to be talking. And we want to deliver message. Every day, this paper has to come out. Today is Friday. This is the newspaper for today. Why do you think this paper is coming out every day? To pass a message to the members of the public. Can we do the same thing for the struggle? Continue to produce. Even in UK, when we go out, we must be able to give people leaflets and say, we are doing Yoruba Nation, whether they are English, Indians, whether they are Pakistan. We need everybody to be on board. So why do you think this paper is out? When Audi, only God knows how much millions of pounds arrangement that they have with Metro newspaper. Metro newspaper is free. I have picked it up, but they have to produce the paper Monday to Friday. So I'm going to take a short break and go and have my food. So what we have to do is I have to play something that can take me away. Yeah, that is my lunch. Okay, basic, minced beef, spaghetti. Spaghetti was like one kind food. But bonjour, Bright Alabi. When I was in Nigeria, this spaghetti, they make it look like a big deal. If you like this kind of outfit, you go to meet up. So I'm not going to eat in front of you. I'm not going to do that. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take a break. The program will still be running. I'm going to play something. Let me use this phone. Just something to keep us going for 10 minutes while I go and have my meal. So when people are saying, impression, all this nonsense, I mean, it's just crazy anyway, so it's crazy. Paper can lay anything, whether you like it or not. This paper comes up every week. So what should we play? Let me look for Professor Banjakitoye again. Professor, and this is not my phone, so I will have to search for it. We've listened to a lot of it. I think we should listen to this one again. 5 years ago, we should listen to this one again. At least this is about 15 minutes. So if I'm John Lane, I don't think it's appropriate. Moki Baba Demola, Yami Olajumake, Ajoke, thank you so much. Is it on plane? Oh, let me take it off. Sorry. Disconnect. Ocean play. So how do I disconnect it then? How about now? Okay, so Ejeka Magbele lo while Timothy lo one conject, not one conject. So I can put it like this.
And it is their duty to guide and govern it in ways that are suitable for the nature of that country. If you do not do that, you will find the country going to pieces in your hand. He's an artist who designs a house and does not take cognizance of the important factors in the circumstance.
Okay.
We build a house that will collapse. What type of soil do you have? What type of material is available? What type of workmen do you have? What type of technology do you have to get things together? If you do not put all of that together as an architect, you will put together a house that will collapse. And so my summary of the weakness, the failings, the disastrous failings of leadership in our country is that our leaders have never really asked themselves, what kind of country do we have? And how do we put it together to achieve success? The result is that we have gone from the very highest of our, and it is to be wondered how much more a country can take in this handling that Nigeria has taken before it breaks up. So I have seen this country succeed a lot. In 1982, I was a young senator in the Nigerian Senate. I
was also an academic, and as a result of the combination of the two, I was invited by the Republic of South Korea to give a lecture as part of the installation of their newly elected president in 1982. And I was to talk about the growing relationship between South Korea and Nigeria. And all I could say was of pride in my country. We were so far ahead of those people. All the rulers who are there in the hall as in the Institute of International Relations and National Security as I delivered my lecture. And I was telling them, it is not only oil that we can sell to you, there is a lot we can teach you. For instance, we have built some of the best, most successful universities in the whole world. We have built one of the most respected medical schools on earth. We have succeeded in developing our agricultural products and become one of the greatest producers in the world. Nigeria was the greatest producer of groundnuts in the world, the largest producer of palm oil in the world. It was the second largest producer of cocoa in the world. And we have a lot to teach you. My country, Nigeria, has a lot to teach you. Today, South Korea is at least 1,000 years ahead of Nigeria. Nigerian leaders have succeeded in taking the wealth and the potentialities, the human material wealth and the potentialities of Nigeria and produce one of the desperately poor countries on earth. That is what we have done as leaders of our country. And why have we come to this condition? It is because our leaders have never really asked themselves, what kind of country do we have? What are its capabilities and possibilities and potentialities? What are its weaknesses? How do we manage the weaknesses? How do we accentuate the strengths? We've never done that. People go into politics because, it is a profitable thing to be in politics. It's also, it gives you ability, some chance to show yourself and become a prominent citizen and make money and become a great man. That's why our leaders go into politics these days. I have been a very close young worker with a man who was determined to find out the direction that Nigeria should go in a systematic, almost scientific way. I'm referring to Atiku. When he came out of prison in 1967, and he was determined to go back into politics, a number of us young people decided to come together and surround him and give him our services. And he was working for the greatest of Nigeria in a systematic, I say, almost scientific manner. That's how to rule a country. That's how to govern a country. You have a country of many nationalities. These are not immigrants into Nigeria, recent immigrants. The Yoruba, the Hausa, the Tiv, and so on, are thousands of years old on this soil. They are not small immigrant peoples. They are thousands of years old in this land. They have built systems that have sustained them for thousands of years. And then you put them together as a country and you want to destroy all that they have built, all their sensitivities and their love of themselves and their pride in themselves, and constitute a country that is managed at the center by a dictatorial federal government, and you think it can work, it cannot work. It's impossible. It is impossible. If Nigeria doesn't speedily do what a lot of people, their voices may not be command. There might be people talking from this side and from that side and so on. But if Nigeria does not take steps as a first important prerequisite for Nigeria at all, not for development. I'm talking of the existence of Nigeria. If Nigeria does not take steps urgently to restructure itself and return to a federal system, the kind of federal system that we saw in the 1950s and up to 1965, Nigeria is very likely to break up. That's my assessment of the situation. I'm a historian. I also happen to have been in your politics. But I talk from what I know. I don't say that your country cannot break up. It can break up. It can break up. The Soviet Union had the most feared government on earth by the middle of the 19th century, of the past century. The Soviet Union had the most feared government on earth.
So if anybody says, good morning, thank you so much, Presenze, and thank you so much to those of you that are still with me. My name is Olayomi Koiki. So I'm going to start from where I've been, kicking it from yesterday, Lano. Many of you have watched the program. Many of you probably have not. I advise you, if you have the time, please go and watch it. It is 35-page document. I have to read everything out word for word. It's a long one, but at least you'll be able to see the point. There's a problem in the country. This problem did not start yesterday. This problem was not created by Tinubu. This problem was created by the Europeans, the British Empire, that decided that for their own selfish gain and selfish interest to merge what is called Nigeria today. So I'm going to go back to, I'm not interested in all the certificate. There's, Nigerians, many people have fake certificate anyway. Many of you travel out of the country with one fake document. So I am not going to go into that area. So don't expect me. I've talked about Bola Tinubu on that. So if you're expecting that from me today, it's a waste of time. Many Nigerians use fake document anyway to travel out. So I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about. Many of you have used Oluwole before. It's just that Tinubu got caught up because he's the president. Many politicians today, many Nigerians have done the same thing. So let's come to Ibi Timofeka Logongon. It's got to do with the Babakitoye manual guide to Yoruba nation self-determination. So I'm going to go to, I think it's towards page. I was so tired yesterday, man, but I just had to complete that. I wanted to divide it to two, and I said if I do, somebody might watch the part one, they might never see the part two. So I just say, you know what, I'm just going to pull it through. And I thank God to Eledumare that I was able to complete it. So it is now up to you all to go and also listen to it. Now, let's talk about this area. Mokiyawa Grace, Olushoto, and the rest of you that have joined us once again. All hail Biafra, all hail Arewa, all hail Ambazonia, Scottish people, and the rest as well. There's an area at this particular, and I need to share that in case you're wondering, Koiki, where can we find this particular, manuscript that you're talking about? Many Yoruba people don't even know that we have this kind of manuscript. So, because we have been told lies by especially Mokiyami, Abose De Rachel. Thank you so much. That we don't have a template and all this nonsense that this, stupid woman that nobody knows where she come from, come and give you nonsense fabu. Okay, I can only share the link. Simon Ekpa. Even some Biafra, they fight Simon Ekpa. Not every one of them agree with him, and I know that. But that's not what I'm going today. So I've already shared the koikimedia.com. You can go there. It's on the first landing page. So when you go on www.koikimedia.com, you will find these, manual guide. So, but when you go to number 34, this is where many Yoruba people, how do you come out of Nigeria? What are the process? Are you going to create a war? Are you going to fight war to come out of Nigeria? Not literally. We don't have to kill each other. We just need to understand each other. That's all. As long as we understand each other, it will be very, very easy. Lagos Island, all of it part of Nigeria today. And even Nigerians, we get you all the time. You come in, you say, we save Nigeria. I say, well, maybe that's your own understanding. The same way you were told Mango Park founded River Niger. So the question that many people want to know is, what is the exit plan? If you say you want to come out of Nigeria, what is your exit plan? Can the exit plan? Because you must have an exit plan. You can't just be coming on the social media and be disturbing us and say, you want Yoruba nation, you want Yoruba nation. What is the actual exit plan? Well, the exit plan is, according to what I have here, is to hold a referendum. That was what they included in this manual guide. Finally, on page 34, we have to hold a referendum. How many people agree that we should hold a referendum? Let me even see how many people are watching. If you're listening to me on the Twitter space, you can just indicate by sending, a love sign or something, or raise, I'm not bringing anybody in, but just indicate. I just want to have a clue because, how many people want a referendum for Nigeria? How many of you? How many people prefer we should hold a referendum instead of having guns and ammunition to kill each other? How many people? Or maybe some of you don't even want Yoruba nation anyway, or Biafra nation, or Arewa nation. How many people think we should hold a referendum in Nigeria? Tony AG says yes. Mr. Sean on TikTok says yes with the thumbs up. So just 2 people. Okay. Yami Comfort, but yes. Fatai Mogaji said yes. Bamidele and Leo. All right, the rest are just looking. Okay. All right, but this is what Babakitoye gave as an option to the exit plan of Nigeria. The Yoruba people out of Nigeria. Finally, we may have to hold a referendum. We may have to hold a referendum. First, let's talk about what is the meaning of, because people don't know anything, but they keep quiet. And when we are talking, they will come and be arguing nonsense with you instead of them to say, lecturer, the thing where you talk. I never even heard the word referendum before. What is referendum? What does it mean? So let's look for the English dictionary of what is called referendum. A referendum, spelled R-E-F-E-R-E-N-D-U-M. In UK, I would have said Romeo Echo Fredley. That is if somebody is calling me on the phone. I'll say Romeo Echo Freddy Echo Romeo Echo November Doctor Uniform Mike. So that person, thank you so much, Mr. Fadikwe. Because that's a woman there. So a referendum or referenda is a direct vote by the electorate on a proposal or a law or political issue. This is in contrast to an issue being voted on by a representative. This may result in the adoption of a new policy or specifically law, or referendum may be only advisory. Again, what do you mean by referendum? A referendum usually asks question. And that question is all about yes or no. It doesn't need I'm still thinking. No, you don't think about it. Mr. Michael Coker, thank you so much. A referendum does not need, we will be asking maybe. No, there's nothing like maybe. It's a yes or no. Should we continue with Nigeria? Yes, you go and vote. Mokiyawa Iyabo. My sister Temi. Iwakweluewa and Yeyoge, thank you so much. It's all about yes or no. If you don't want it, you say no. If you want it, you say yes. It's just two questions. I mean, one question, two answer. And everybody would have the right to one vote. That is what they call a referendum. Nigeria will not be the only country that have done it. Referendum is the option at page 34 of the manual guide. Kelimari, the damage that this Olori Buruku woman has done. Because many of you do not understand that the work that was in place was to keep the message going and burning and the fire burning until we get to a stage like this. She knew, she understood the game, and she pulled everything back. But how many people know this is there? But it is out in the public domain. But we have too many people that cannot reason. That is why we have to reason for you. Because if we have come out at that final rally and we pinned down the government and said, no, we are not going back home. I told you it took 11 days for Slovakia to pull down a 40-year dictator. 11 days in 1989. They knew that we were up to a something for July 3rd, 2021. But many of you will probably not understand. If we have all the government to ransom, pin them down for that 11 days or 10 days or 6 days, the whole system will crumble and eventually will be forced to have a referendum within the state, whether the federal, because if the Yoruba land is not operating for 5-6 days, there will be chaos in the country. If the airline cannot park in, if nobody can move around, there will be chaos. Mokiyawa Comfort, Ologunja, and I'm enjoying that thing. We appreciate you, we love you, man. So when people do not even understand that Babaki Toye wrote in a manuscript that finally we may have to hold a referendum. But yet, many of us thought the movement was working for Bola Tinubu, especially after this woman came and injected lies. Lies upon lies upon lies that she went on cooking, and that distorted the minds of people that were minded that we were ready. And like I said, I need the other side here. You're not going anywhere. It's a waste of time. You are not going anywhere. So, as I'm telling you about referendum, we must first ask, have there been a referendum on self-determination before? How many countries have had referendum before? Whether it was successful, Manchester, or not, is not a question. The UK Supreme Court referenced on a referendum for Scotland and the right to constitutional self-determination. That was last year, December. Puerto Rico Status Act historical push towards self-determination 1 week ago. Spain is trying to clean up its act as Catalans reject Madrid's rule. Catalan Prime Minister demands self-determination reconciliatory referendum. Okay, there's no way that the Nigerian government will not come to the table, and I say a round table discussion, either through the peaceful means that we will eventually all sit together and talk about it, or there will be what we call the M1 route that will still force the government to come and hold a referendum with the United Nations representative on the ground. So all these that you think that the federal government has the might to pin everybody down, it will eventually get to the stage that that referendum that they are running away from peacefully might come in the other world that is not peaceful. Self-determination is the right of the Falkland Island. This was August 2023. Australia ruling party calls on the United Nations to organize a referendum on self-determination without delay. Let's read that. So if you think that referendum was never going to come true, it will happen. It's just about what and when and what will lead to the referendum. Just raising good morning or good afternoon. Dizzy man, good afternoon. We will force, or should I not use the word force, we will continue to dialogue, especially with our representative for self-determination referendum within the state. If the federal cannot give it to us, we should demand it from our state governors and representatives to decide whether the Yoruba people still want to be in that same union we called Nigeria. Australia ruling party calls on the United Nations, and this was August 8th. This article was 19th of August 2023. Australia ruling party calls on the United Nations to organize referendum on self-determination without delay. I have to increase the front in a pattern of glasses. Brisbane, Australia, 19th of August 2023. And this is coming from a newspaper called www.spsrasd.info. And I can share that link with those of you that are watching us. Thank you so much. Mama, when you continue, yes. Apparently, I don't have another backup to be monitoring the comment section. So let's go into it. Australia Party has called on the United Nations to organize a referendum for self-determination. Do you know which country? How many people can guess which country they're asking for them to push? I mean, imagine if we have Australia. This is what might happen when we continue to highlight our reason and continue to showcase it in small, in big, so that we can have countries that will be able to tell the Nigerian government that, okay, hold referendum and let them decide their fate. But there's a country that has already been in that bracket that is now getting the support of the Australian ruling Labour Party. Can we get that as well? For many countries around the world to just continue to pressurize Nigerian government or the United Nations for a referendum. Do you know the country that they're talking about? It's not Nigeria yet, because Nigeria is not ready yet. Probably maybe by the time the Biafra continue the push on the M1, which they don't want to, but if that is going to be the only way that the international community will come and listen to them for the referendum that they're asking for, they will continue to do what they are doing. You might call them any name. It doesn't matter. They care less anyway, because they've been asking for referendum for peaceful dialogue, but each of the government is not talking to them. They've held their leader for a crime that he hasn't committed. I mean, he said he doesn't want to be Nigerian. Moreover, Nnamdi Kanu is not using a Nigerian passport anymore. You kidnap him, re-rendition him, you continue to play around, and you are thinking there will be peace in Nigeria. You must be crazy. There will never be peace in Nigeria until Bola Tinubu calls those involved with the Biafra and decide that, okay, we will give you a referendum, get the hell out of Nigeria, and the Yoruba people will remain in Nigeria because we love Bola Tinubu. It's as simple as that. The word referendum is not something that is a joke. It makes decision whether we want to remain as a one entity block or we want to dissolve the block. But you cannot say, oh, go and be voting every 4 years and bring a representative and bring, no. And then you marginalize certain set of people because the Yoruba people are feeling very comfortable because we have Bola Tinubu. While the Igbos are not comfortable. We want him out. We don't want to be in this system. Not every one of them, because some wanted Peter Obi, and Peter Obi is not going to be the president of Nigeria. Nigeria will have break up even before Peter Obi comes back. Peter Obi is a puppet to the West. We knew what happened. He flew to London, went to number 10 Downing Street. He came out, released a press statement and said he's going to move out of Labour Party, of PDP, and join Labour Party. Diverted the minds of those idiot Biafra that were doing Biafra. They now went and joined Peter Obi. They called themselves obedient. Obi. I am not a supporter of Bola Tinubu, but you cannot take him out That is the fact. It will fight dirty. All this one you are all doing in our social media. They're not born anybody well. Go remove Bola Tinubu. Now me talk am. I know. Because I know what he will do. Idiot. Biafra was walking. They saw Peter Obi there. Peter Obi actually distracted their, what they were actually fighting for. You think you want to use Peter Obi to become Nigerian president. When the North doesn't like you, the Yoruba doesn't like you, you must be joking. We must all come back now. All you obedient, you cannot get what you are looking for in Nigeria. Everybody must now talking about referendum of Nigeria. This union, a referendum must be held. I haven't given you the name of the country yet that Australian Labour Party is supporting. They are actually supporting Western Sahara. I've talked about Western Sahara so many times. Western Sahara wants to come out of that contraction location that they've been locked in between Morocco. It hasn't come easy before they get to this stage. Let's go straight and give you a background of Western Sahara. Do you think that the Biafra will not get to that stage with the way things are going? You think they care about whether it's Tinubu that is there? They don't care. If I was care, you think Simon Ekpa cares about whatever Bola Tinubu is planning to do with him? They will fight to the last man standing. If you think they care, continue to say that. They don't care. They will fight. If that is going to be the only way for them to get the recognition from the outside world. He wrote to the European Union, they throw it out. They say they're not interested. By the time it gets to M1, if you don't know the meaning of M1, ask people in the comment section. I'm not going to give you that code. By the time it gets to M1, then the European Union would have no other option to call Simon Ekpa and say, what do you want? Western Sahara. What do we know about them? Western Sahara is a disputed territory on the northwest coast in the Maghreb region of the North and the West Africa. The Western Sahara, given its name in 1975 by the United Nations, they have literally been fighting before 1975. Till date, they do not have what they call a full 100% of their territory. All they have is 20%, but so far so good. They are already operating as a country of their own. They have their own military. They have fighter jets. They might not have enough, but they are also getting support from countries like Australia. How do the Yoruba people be able to get the same sympathy from countries to look into what we are doing? But when we are not even out there, we are just in our cocoon in this social media. How do you get that message? And this is why they knew that they need to stop the rally. Hey, stop the rally. Is it rally that will give you Yoruba nation? Idiot people. Referendum was part of it. She rally like mama she. Are you guys check mama she rally? Check mama she rally. She rally my going there. How many of you know that referendum was there? Yeah, no more now. Because you are not ready to learn. A referendum was included in the 35-page manual template. Maybe they should translate it to Yoruba. I don't have the money to do that. If I have the money, I have to pay somebody. Then I can put it out there and find somebody that can read Yoruba for you and listen. Maybe that will be you want Yoruba nation. The fish wala, no problem. So Western Sahara is a part that has been fighting after it was occupied by the same European, Spain. Spain had that. They have 20% control by self-proclaimed Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. The remaining 80% of the territory is occupied, administered by the neighboring Morocco. So it's been a fight between Morocco and Western Sahara. But today, Western Sahara is gaining momentum by asking United Nations to produce a referendum for them. Let people decide whether they still want to be part of Morocco. So let's come back again to which other country when it comes to referendum. Indigenous right. Australian referendum offers opportunity to fulfill international human rights laws. This was July 25th this year. We have a lot of indigenous people in Australia. Australia will vote in a referendum later in 2023 on what? A proposal to recognize Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people in the Australian Constitution by establishing an independent parliamentary consultative mechanism called The Voice. Give you 1999 fake constitution, and you will see educated people come and be arguing with you that we are not educated, that we will keep Nigeria. You go there and you'll be asking yourself, are you sure this one they get book, they get on they get brain? A constitution that doesn't have what it takes, that says we the people. Don't you know that whenever a constitution is fraud, it has ripple effect from bottom to top? Thank you so much, Yorubani, for the gift. So let's go back to Babakitoye manuscript that tells us this is what we are going to be doing. This is what we are going to be telling people about why we want Yoruba Nation. Some people think that we want Yoruba Nation because Fulani is killing us alone. We must understand that it is not just about killing us. It's about the future of that territory. When your territory is gone, it's gone. Do you know that Joe Biden, from the news I picked up yesterday, has no other option now to start probably removing people from America because there are too many of them? It's also going to increase, they build a wall between America and Mexico. Massive. Donald Trump, I said Joe Biden, from what I was reading yesterday on that, I don't know how it was put, but if I Google it, it will give me the background of it. But what I know is that, they're going to increase without the wall, just to block people. Go to European countries. There's a program going on, I think, is it in Italy or Spain? The Spanish acting prime minister is complaining that too many refugees, they cannot hold it anymore. It is becoming a burden for them. But they don't forget, say the problem where they start. Some years ago, back ago, is fighting them back now. So let's go back again and talk about the main point that I want us to really look into this afternoon. And then it's 6th, 10th, 2023. I'll go collusion for you. My name is Olayomi Koiki. Our peaceful process towards our nation's self-determination is most likely to lead us to a referendum. And I've been giving you the background of a referendum. We will not be the only country that people will have to campaign on our behalf at some point for a referendum. Even if we end up fighting, they will still tell us it's either they break it quicker or they go through referendum. But why do we have to go into that? But we must explain to our people continuously, which is what we are doing. But we need to be active on the ground. We need to, produce leaflet, flyers. Internet is expensive in Nigeria. Not everybody can sit down and listen to whatever we are saying. They could do other things with their internet, but we need to continue to propagate that message. Message continuously. That is why this paper will never stop business. Because why? They have funding for it. Who is funding us? We don't have it. This is a newspaper of today, Friday. It's free. It automatically tells you that in case somebody wants to tell you to buy it, it is called free. It is free. And it talks about different things. Council worker, murder in her home as drug rival sought revenge over a music festival fight. I also saw a nurse. This country gets its own problem. 2 nurses have been sentenced, or probably they'll be sentenced. Each time they decide who to kill in the... We get crazy people for this one. I saw that, I was like, something, this happened this one. These are 2 nurses. They will decide who to kill in the hospital that they work. If you're giving them trouble, they will sedate you, you will die. You think in Nigeria, I ain't get problem. Everywhere there's a problem. So what we are trying to say this morning is all about the referendum. But we must be ready and prepare our mind. But we cannot go and tell our people referendum. Some of them will go and vote no. You know why? Because we need understanding. So, and the last thing we want is we get a referendum, and then people start saying, no, we don't want to go. Hey, Koiki, we are not going, no, because if we go now, you're going to bring Isheshe. Isheshe will run over Muslim. He will run over Christian. You can see that we're going to be a problem. So we must first educate the masses. And the masses will have been educated if we have a continuous rally. Because the more people are seeing rally, which is it Oloshelu rally? We say, no. This one not be Oloshelu. This one Yoruba Nation rally. And they say, hey, Yoruba Nation. Ṣé ẹ fẹ́ jẹ́ ká lọ ní àwa máa ṣàlàyé fáwọn èèyàn, a máa jọ ṣàlàyé, àjọ máa ṣàlàyé, a máa ṣàlàyé. Intan bá lọ tẹ́lẹ̀ nìyẹn o. Kó lórí burúkú yẹn tó dé, tó dá gbogbo ẹ̀rú, ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ télọ̀. Intan bá lọ gangan nìyẹn. Máa bá lọ wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́. Local government lọ báyìí, à ń bá lọ. Because báwọn ẹ bá ṣe rí wa pé àwọn olélè ṣé PDP no à ń ṣe PDP o, à ń ṣe PC o, à ń ṣe Labour Party o. Yorùbá Nation self-determination ni o. Àkí ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀, a fẹ́ pín ni. Ṣé ta bá pín yẹn, ṣé mo máa gbélé ní kúrò? Because people don't understand anything. Ẹni tẹ́ fẹ́ ní ẹ fẹ́ pín, a máa bèrè pé kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀ sówó òun. Nigeria had a CBN Act 2 years before they declared Nigeria as an independent country. How do we tell our people that, look, some people don't have money, but they will tell you, but about kilo owó nǹkan kò lówó, kò ní ṣíṣìn, kò ní ṣìn gbáìn. But ó fẹ́ wà sure pé owó tóun rí gbà lọ́wọ́ diaspora kan every month, tóun bá kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà, tẹ́gbẹ́ òun lọ sínú Yorùbá Nation, báwo lòun ṣe máa rówó òun? That is the listing. Money will be changed, but there must be policy from the Yoruba Central Bank. We must start having all this prepared. We are doing the job from the media. It is the responsibility of the order. Go and look for work. Bàbá ẹni kó lọ look for work. Olórí burúkú ọmọ àlè. Kò ní dá fún bàbá tó bí ẹ. Bomb bastard. Olóṣì. Òrójú ẹ̀ bó ṣe rí. Òwìwí. Ó náà Àjàyí Patrick Àbáyọ̀mí olóṣì. I'm sure pé Fúlàní ló bá ìyá ẹ̀ sùn. Bomb bastard. Kò ní dá fún ìyá tó bí ẹ. You can look at them. Only go and find a job. Iṣẹ́ wo ni wọ́n ṣe? Olóṣì. Jẹ́ lọ wojú ẹ̀ dáadáa. Jẹ́ lọ wo iṣẹ́ wo ló ń ṣe. Jẹ́ lọ wojú ẹ̀ dáadáa. Mo ń bọ̀. Ẹ má bínú pé mo wà divert a little bit. Olórí burúkú ẹ̀ Àjàyí kí ló ń jẹ́? Ìwọ tó níná níbi tó wà. Bomb bastard. Ó náà Àjàyí Patrick. Ó lè jọ ọmọ Fúlàní níbẹ̀ yẹn olóṣì. Gbogbo wọn ló ń lórúkọ Yorùbá ní sẹ́ni anyway. Á lórúkọ Yorùbá gbé picture kan síbẹ̀. Ó náà Àbáyọ̀mí. Á lọ wo page ẹ̀. Olóṣì. Òrójú ẹ̀. Ó ní olórí burúkú building and contract orí ìbòtó kan náà contracting work at building and contracting olóṣì bomb bastard lives in Ondo State olóṣì kí ló mọ̀ tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ l'Ondo State bomb bastard Àjàyí Patrick Àbáyọ̀mí onídàá fún bàbá ẹ̀ kí ló mọ̀ tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ l'Ondo State Akérédolú lórí burúkú ẹ̀ kò ní dá fún Akérédolú ó fìwọ́ sílẹ̀ ó lọ sí Germany ó lọ gba treatment ó lò ṣe ẹni sìn tọ́mọ ẹ bá sì kìíní sìn ó máa kú ni bomb bastard ó lò ṣì Akérédolú ò fẹ́ kú á ní kẹ́yìn máa lọ sọ́dọ̀ Jésù kẹ́ lọ sọ́dọ̀ ànábì kẹ́ lọ sọ́dọ̀ àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe Akérédolú spend nothing less than 100,000 euro ní Germany for 3 months ó lò ṣì òun náà ló ṣe ń bá deputy jà ó náà live in Ondo State ó lórí ìranù ẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ mùsùlùmí ẹ̀ náà ni bomb bastard olórí burúkú wá sí bíbá ní kémi lọ wáṣẹ́ olóṣì kò ní da fáwọn tó bí ẹ get the fuck off of the platform olórí burúkú èèyàn ìyàwó ẹ̀ máa lóyún nísìn wàá máa wá tọrọ owó lórí social media olóṣì kọjá gbajàgbà kúrò lórí program fún mi if you come and say nothing máa bú yẹ máa bú bàbá ẹ̀ máa ránṣẹ́ ẹsẹ̀ sílé kò ní da fún yín Koiki ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ let's come back to the program. Olóṣì and go and find a job. I'm sure àwọn ọmọ ní tìrì ni mo ti rí fídíò ẹ̀ olórí burúkú ni àwọn ọmọ ní tìrì ni olóṣì mo ti rí àwọn ọmọ ní tìrì ni bomb bastard mo ti rí nísìnyí wọ́n ń pín flyer káàkiri ní September olóṣì ní dá fún bàbá ẹ̀ lórí burúkú èèyàn. Let's come back to the program. So, a referendum will be asked. Do you want Yoruba nation? Is a yes or no. But if our people do not have the understanding, the grasp of reading that fellow, If they don't have it, they will end up voting no, and we will be in a big mess. We will start all over again. So we must continue what we are doing right now, but we need to push it down to the bottom. University, polytechnics, market, everywhere. Because if Babaki said, and I quote, on page 34 of this manuscript, our peaceful processes, towards our nation's self-determination is most likely to lead us to a referendum. So if we get to referendum and people don't understand, you can see that we are in a big mess. And this is why we cannot stop the campaign trail, because we have not yet have the nation yet. We don't have the country yet. The country is not in our possession. It's not like West Saharan that have 20. If we get 20%, it would have been a different ball game, but we don't have the territory. And no Yoruba nation has been declared, in case some of you that are under the message thinking that we don't declare Yoruba nation. What about Yoruba nation? Amajo, Kamayo, Jesu Tigba, Ebimimo Tigba, Anobi Mohammed Tigba, weary. Some of you needs to go to mental home. You got your country. I pity people in that thinking that you have a country yet, that this fake woman is telling you. So, an event like a regular election is big election only. But the only question is, do you want to be part of Nigeria, yes or no? Sometimes, if it was a very stable thinking politicians in Nigeria today, they would have given us the option. But what they knew about it is that the 1999 constitution that is meant to have that clause. Well, so number one, that is where the problem starts. Okay, we want to go, but what would have given us the option to push for it? They've not embedded it into it. So if we are saying we want a referendum, okay, we want referendum. How do you get Moki Alaja Okun ni gbogbo aja? Shalafi alewa ma, iya gbowo. Sharati mokun dada. Olabandro ti ma. If we are talking about this referendum that is not inside this constitution, it's difficult. So what we are now saying is that the first thing people was talking about, prior to after 1999, we came back was, okay, this constitution seems to be, something is not right about it. Go smell dada, go feel dada. People were not even worried about referendum clause as at the time. It was some other areas that this constitution has given power to the federal. Kojeki state ile ni access resources. Referendum. The only time referendum started coming up now is after the Biafra campaign started and the Yoruba right now and some of the Middle Belt and some of the Arewas. So there was never a topic about referendum inside the constitution. It was more about the constitution was taking us backwards. Kojeki progress. So if we want the peace of Nigeria, the first thing is let's put down even the referendum, they can use it to stop the constitution. Do you want the constitution? Yes or no? No, we don't want it. They will pull it down. They will then do what they call a new constitution. They will draft. That draft, me and you go read them in English, in Yoruba, in Hausa, in all the languages in Nigeria, so that we can have the real understanding. How many of you understand the 1999 constitution? Me, I don't understand them. You don't understand them. So why are we using it? Oh, they say, no, Koiki, don't worry. We are doing amendment. We are amending it. How can you amend something that is a fraud? Everybody knows this. So when that one no work, okay, let's restructure. Everybody starting, let me restructure this country. When we restructure the country, we can progress. They don't want restructure. So what do we really want to make this country work? No, let me just be going out every 4 years. And politicians, where they don't steal money, they were all part of the military problem. Do you know that the politicians that are today, most of them were not military then, not all of them in the nutshell, but some of them were part of, because when we have the military, we have some parallel civilian working with them. I'm sure everybody knows that. And them, You know that in matter I run military administration rather. We still have civilians that were working with them. So it was part of those civilians like Bagudu, the new minister for budget and planning, the former governor of Kebbi State, Nimanso. He stole so much money that, Owotoji for Abacha, because he was not a military guy. I don't know, but he was not. But he was working with Abacha because Abacha could not travel out much. So I don't know, how did Abacha even work towards? He wasn't going anywhere, but he was stealing money and putting it away. Maybe he was just protecting Nigeria so that we don't spend the money anyhow. Eventually, they return some of the money. What have they done with it? So, Babaki to Yenjeko Yewa Katole Sokwe Ama Law. We will prepare for is most likely, Oyibo most likely ó ṣe dandan pé a máa ṣe tán pè ní ó máa lead sí referendum. Even if we do M1, as some of us will have loved, we go through the M1, we will still likely have a referendum. An event like a regular election at which we Yoruba will line up. Remember that that guy from the Biafra, he did that similar one. Timayegunwala to Scotland, other Timayegunwala fish or of a box. You just go and drop your own. It's one person, one vote. I'm sure some of you know what is, it's just like voting, but you're not voting for political party. You're not voting for PDP. You're not voting for APC. It's just a yes or no. It is a country that can organize it. The Scottish people held a referendum in 2014. Scotland referendum was held in 2014. It is the UK government that says, okay, go and do referendum. Yes or no. But it failed. And what was the outcome? A referendum on the Scottish independence from the United Kingdom was held in Scotland on the 18th of September 2014. And what does it mean? It literally means that the referendum question was, should Scotland be an independent country? Should Yoruba be an independent country? Yes or no? That is going to be the same way. It's the same way. It's just we don't need all that. All this, you want to go and vote with over 300, political parties. No. Should Yoruba be an independent country? Yes or no? But what you do not want is a referendum grasp understanding of dictatorship vote for no, then we might also remain in Nigeria, which is what happened in Scotland. Even though the Scotland one was a tricky one by the English people, they told them that they will remain in EU if they vote to remain in UK. But what they actually cut their leg out. So the Scottish people voted no, and in 2016, 2 years after, the English people, as usual, cut their head off. They voted out. So more English people in England voted to go out of European Union because they were worried that too many of us were coming in. There was a pressure cooker in their, in their jobs, and even though it's live, because the EU was funding this country as well, especially in agriculture. But because the English people, just like they want to preserve their own territory. Oh, you don't want to preserve yours. You don't want to have it open for every Dick and Harry. No. If we want other people to come and live with us, we must have a system that works and we can determine them. Just like I live in this country, my fingerprint is with the British government. Because I said I want to live here, and they said they will take my fingerprint. And I agreed. Many of you are just sleeping day and night. You don't even know who is the criminal in that surrounding that you're living. So the referendum is not a new thing. It's not a big deal. It is just that we must first push certain things before we get to the referendum, which I'm going to explain in the next part of this, paper that Baba Akintoye released. Well, you're right. We might not need a referendum if every Yoruba have the voice that no to Nigeria. But how do we do that if we are just sitting on the social media and we are not hitting the ground every day with rallies? Oh, what can we rally? Because people don't understand. The Scottish people are still doing rallies every day. They are better off us anyway. If I get Scottish passport today, hey, I know what I can do with it in terms of traveling. Because there are some places I want to go that I will just say, which one? Just buy ticket. You don't even know what it takes to just buy a ticket and not worry. You know if you buy ticket and leave Nigeria, if you don't have the visa, the requirement visa to travel to some countries. Yeah, they will tell you Nigerian passport can take you to some other places. I mean, definitely, yes. But the world is so beautiful that I would love to explore. The same way that they explore us. Me too, I won't go do. There are some African countries I will not take any chances to go. There are some other Asian countries I will not go. But there's some places I want to visit. I'd love to visit Australia in my lifetime. I would love to. Even if I get old, I could say make them take me go Australia and New Zealand. I'd love to be there. Russia, I don't know. Maybe not now. But it's a place I would love to visit. If I want to go Russia, I will have to go with one of my children. So in case, just joke aside. Thank you so much, those of you. So let's look at the numbers. How many people voted for yes to stay in the UK and no, they don't want to be, no, this way. How many people voted yes and no? The no side won in Scotland. This was not long time ago. This was 2014. So who the hell are you to be telling us, hey, shut up there. Which kind of referendum you to break up Nigeria? They play. You mean what no matter from here? They play. They play. If Scotland, that have been with UK since 1717, they've been together since 1707. Minus and divide, or minus and plus. 1707 till now. How many years? I want to see it on the comment section. They say they want to leave. They are no longer interested in this, union with, with Great Britain. We should be excited that we are bringing this as a conversation. You don't have to accept it straight away, but many of you should be happy that it is even part of the conversation today, especially with all these, the forged certificate. Comrade says that is about 316 years ago. Nigeria will just be less than 100 years. Now he won't die for. I mean, how are we thinking? The same. I don't even know. How much if I explain? Help me out, one of you. How do I explain to you that the same Scottish, where they with UK, where they call Great Britain, since 1707, they can't say they don't tire. They don't want the union anymore. They gave them a referendum. You, where we just be 100 years. Now you can't say, like somebody said the morning, Rome was not built in one day. Oh, oh my God. So you are waiting for us to build Rome in Nigeria before we dissolve. With the world that we are living now that is so exposed, where many of you, any small thing now, you can bring it on the social media, we can talk about it, we can laugh about it. Now you can't say Rome was not built. So you are expecting us to build Rome in Nigeria before we break. It is only 100 years old. My grandfather was, I'm sure my great-great-grandfather was older than Nigeria before he died, because as at that time, people, they live long. Now this time, they don't put every chemical inside our food. Every day, they kill us every day. We are not eating proper organic. They tell you it's organic, now lie. There's so much thing they are spreading in the air that is creating a lot of problems. So why are you trying to hold on to something that is just 100 years old? Why? Tell me. When the Scottish people were given the opportunity, let them try it with the Biafra. Leave Yoruba people, we're not serious. Let them try it with Biafra. But Babakito said, we are serious as well. No? Koiki not talk like that. In his own manual script, he said, and I go back again, our peaceful process towards our nation's self-determination is most likely to lead us to a referendum. I am still on the word referendum. Benny Yami, they told us COVID. Eventually they say, no, it's not more. You know they will be preparing another one. Bill Gates, they go Nigeria, they laugh. Bill Gates, this is, every laptop you buy is Microsoft, monopoly. There's a software called Ubuntu. Ubuntu or Jekoberi. Ubuntu is better than, if not to say that Apple is a very strong platform. Do you know that you don't need antivirus for Apple products? But every time with this Microsoft, they're not buying you well. You got to put antivirus. You get the message now? You don't get them? They joke. Even got the answer from me here. Yeah, I don't belly full like this. As they just use that drink, they top and down. I just want you all to wake up and open your mind. Well, don't break Nigeria now, but have it at the back of your mind that, if Scotland, 361 years old, says we are tired, and you want to pin down the Biafra that are saying that they are not interested in Nigeria because why? Who the hell are yours to tell us that we shouldn't let them to go? If you don't let them to go, they will create more problems for every one of us. It's as simple as that. The only thing is, if they burn you well, go out on Monday, where they still make you sit down at home. Sit down at home means sit at home is to protect your lives, because Opus Odima and their governors in the southeast, or the bomb bastard governor, will end up sending people to come and kill you. So you sit at home so that you don't get straight bullet into your head. While the Yorubas will continue to shout ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta because we are not ready. But Babakito is saying we are ready. We will likely have a poll where people will be asked the same question like the Scottish people. Should Yoruba be an independent country? They will write it in Yoruba, they will write it in English, so that people will not mix it up. Is a yes or no. 2 million people said no in 2014, while 1.6 million said yes. Make the try your luck with the Biafra. Make Tinubu try your luck with the Biafra, whether they will say yes or they will say no. Nnamdi Kanu say if they do a referendum and they fail, it will stop the Biafra agitation. You can see how they are serious. You don't like the Igbo in Lagos, then tell Bola Tinubu to give the referendum so that they can go and do their wahala and we can push every one of them out of Lagos. If you can't do that, they have every right to be in Lagos. They have every right to be in any part of Yoruba land, because we are still under the same system called the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and they are a Nigerian citizen. And moreover, they are not just in your state. Remember, they are paying taxes. You don't have to like them. Hate them like shit. They hate you as well. I hate them, you hate them. It's as simple as that. God knows best. But they want to go, let them go, so that we can even know the one way won't come Yoruba land and say, hey, go your Biafra. But you can't tell somebody in Alaba and say, go to Biafra. You are crazy. We are still Nigerians. Tell your governor to put that. And that takes me to where Babakito says that if we are going to do that, let me quickly fast forward or bring it further. Number one, some nations seeking self-determination have been known to simply organize referendum for themselves, like the Scottish people. The English in Westminster says date is 18th. They gave them the long date ahead. They were taking the campaign trail, because you have to continue to tell people. The Scottish will have gone. But Oyibo people, they do the same wayo way they do with us. They do with the Scottish people. We will still remain in the European Union. So make sure you vote in or more. Scottish people believe that. 2 years after they pull out of the European Union, Scottish people now say, no. That was not our agreement. Though. And this is why we must continue to prorogate this movement to let people understand. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and this is a Koiki Media platform. Support us, as we say. Eba anfe account detail sita. Eba aju account detail sita. Koiki Media team. Ati rowo la tan kan. Mo de wa won kan regular ni ko si to kan won. Easy dollar ba de nisin, o ma ju si. You don't have to agree with it right now, but have it at the back of your mind that can that be the other option on the look? They must in life. Okay, if you want to travel to America, they say they're not going to give you visa, and you want to reach America by all means, by all fire. Where do you think will be the closest place to travel to get into America? You might probably think about Canada. Oh, you don't know that. Canada is a driveway to America. You want to go to Benin Republic, or you want to go Ghana. There must always be other option. The problem is our politicians are making it look like, oh, all this we are talking about, that is not an option. You know, the craze. It is an option. And that option will be put on the table. And that table will be break. If we not break out, some people will break the leg and it will break. Look, it's like this table that I'm operating on now. If I cut part of that table there, this side will drop like this. Eventually, that is going to happen in Nigeria. If we are still trying to stabilize it, if one part, like the Biafra side, if they cut the leg, it go shake everybody because you know not go fit travel through that route until situation is resolved. So you will end up going a long route to get to Abuja or to go to wherever you're going because that part of the other part of Nigeria will be problem. You know, they can be fighting war in Nigeria today between the government and Nigeria, and eventually it will affect me and you, but that war will not come to us. Do you know it is possible? Do you know that they can be bombing the southeast and it doesn't have to touch us, but we will be feeling the ripple effect? Go and look at the Amazonia. I'm not going to promote violence on this platform, but go and look at what is happening there presently. I saw a video this morning. I won't say more than that. I want to alori M1. Any maku, any maye. So if you are saying that you don't want the other option, you just want us to every 4 years make Tinubu come vote, make PDP, all this nonsense election where they do, where they defraud everybody. We must have another option on the table. That option is a referendum. Mokia sister me, my finger concern comment section. Olori ebi come back. Ma comment to ba comment àwọn ma mú ẹ o de ko de ti marry a ma disturb ẹ ni àwọn boy ma disturb ẹ lẹ́yìn ni o kí n pe lórí ẹbí gan ma pè wà látà tí bá ti ṣe tán Ọlọ́ba ndro tẹ nǹkan so wọn ko rí Koiki Media wá ti comment pẹ̀rẹ̀ báyìí ó ma lé ẹ̀wọ̀n ni àwọn boys yẹn àwọn afi wen tí Koiki bá sọ̀rọ̀. So let's come back again. Some nations seeking self-determination have been known to simply organize the referendum for themselves. If Nigeria was a country that is working, I'm not telling you M1, you have to ask the person in the comment section. I don't promote violence, but those who know M1, you are probably joining the Koiki Media. We talked about M1. You might go on YouTube quickly and ask somebody there, they will tell you, but I'm not going to raise my mouth and tell you. So, what is M1? It's the motorway in London. There's M1 to the north and there's M1 to the south. Mukiba Baba Kende. Yami Comfort Ologunja and Tinubu should dissolve Nigeria before Shetima overtake him. Hey, that is another prayer we must not have. If Shetima takes over, he say, restructure my foot. With that in mouth, will be like the thing where they chop like Momo. Restructure my foot. Which restructure? Restructure my foot. Shetima. Very funny guy. All these people, they also enjoy life. Everything concern them. Now we go say enough is enough. All this one, we obedient, make now go work with Biafra. The Yoruba way they work with us. You know, I met those guys from Kano on Sunday. They know me very well. Mr. Koiki, cover us now. Nobody the same thing they do. That politician, they don't give them $5,000, $10,000. Politicians are bastard. The way that they spend money, if you get close to them, but they can destroy you as well if you're not serving them. That is why we say, you support us and let's stay. I mean, that is what I know, M1 motorway, but this one, we're not slang, and a coded message now. Say to Baba Lori M1, Baba Shimari, Peduto Lori 20 miles. You know, M1 at 70, sometimes they go say go 80. If you don't like the to Lori, motor to Duro Rada, Lori 70. I mean, I don't like automatic car. I like manual. We are neither Yoruba or Igbo. Where do we go now, Koiki? Very good question. Very, very good question. Let's answer that. There are people that are concerned. And this is where the argument is. Biafra campaigner cannot force anyone that is within another region to come and become a Biafra. The first thing that will be for the minority within Nigeria, the likely that Nigeria will dissolve is yes. It's not going to dissolve into 3 nations. Nigeria will dissolve to nothing less than 8 different countries. The smallest out of those countries can be less than 1 million. So those of you that are, I don't want to use the word those of you, those in smaller indigenous, whether you want to be part of Biafra, it has to be a referendum as well for you. They cannot force, the same way where Biafra won't come out, Simon Ekpa cannot force any other region into Biafra. Neither can we Yoruba force anybody. Neither can the Middle Belt. Nigeria would dissolve just like Czechoslovakia had a velvet divorce. There was no gunshot, and it divided into 8 countries, if I'm right. Soviet Union dissolved into about 15 nations today. Part of it is Ukraine. And Ukraine might eventually, from information that I'm following on another platform, they might eventually accept Donbass and another place, and this war will probably be unplugged. Lives have been lost. Millions of billions of dollars. So what I'm trying to explain is for those that are those smaller, indigenous people. If Edo wants to stand on their own, there are countries that is not even up to the population of Edo. If the Edo wants to go one way, it's going to be a referendum from their people. This is why it is called the inalienable right. People must be allowed to accept whether even if you be part of Yoruba and you decided that after some years you don't want to be, we must accept you to go. You can't force people to remain in whatever they want to be. 2 countries, Czech and the Slovakia Republic. Thank you so much for the coffee board. Easy dollar. So nobody should be concerned. I know some of us are concerned that, hey, I want Kanuri. What are we going to do with us? I want this, I want that. Look, some might not be able to hold on their own. We got to be factual. You might have to join, but again, it will be, look, we must dialogue. We don't want to carry guns and kill each other. Why is the government running away from dialogue? Dialogue must be part of government. Tinubu must be ready to dialogue. We know Buhari was a dead or alive, was a Fulani man. He don't understand anything. Even if Tinubu don't forge certificate, he is still at least upstairs. Tinubu is still better than Buhari in terms of education, even if he forges certificate. We all know that. And I don't speak for Tinubu because I don't get paid from him. I get paid from you guys, or you men and women, all these beautiful, beautiful sisters and brothers. You give us gifts, so I didn't concern me with Tinubu, bomb bastard. You're concerned with Tinubu, called Tinubu. I pity Yoruba people anyway, because they are thinking that Tinubu is there. We keep quiet. No. What's it called? Tinubu must negotiate with every one of us. But it might take, even if the negotiations start now, look, if everybody knows that in 4 years, today, if Tinubu is giving assurance, and not assurance like Davido, because we saw Davido assurance and another assurance woman come out. Another assurance woman come from France, and we can't have different assurance. I can't look at, hey, Chioma, assurance. Hey, which way assurance? Chioma say, no. I be the real assurance, baby. Assurance, baby. You know what I mean? That one just now, adjust for inside the program. Put adjust, go sweet now. Somebody said, my concern is that the Yoruba nation, don't you think if Ogun become president, Ondo people will say so? No, it is all lies. The Yorubas are always Yoruba. We cannot marginalize each other. We have lived thousands of years together. So there's nothing like if we have Yoruba nation, Ogun people will come pull out. No, that is a false information. We cannot marginalize each other. That can never happen. What do you mean they want their people to become president? No, the right person will become a president based on the political party that will be set up in the country. Do you think that people want Rishi Sunak to be president, the prime minister? It's because it was what the party chose. And I don't see maybe he'll be coming back after his tenure next year. I don't know. So all these, well, in Nigeria, definitely it's all about my turn, my turn. And the Igbos will never be given a turn anyway. All right, don't let me distract. Let me focus back here because there's too much commentary to distract me. And I've not got to where I'm headed to. Once again, thank you so much to all our listeners around the world. My name is Olayomi Koiki. Remember to support the independent media. Give us the Naira, the dollar. I take a cryptocurrency. I don't even know if that one is still working. Email to send PayPal. I discontinue my Cash App. You know, they cash me money anymore. Every time people send money, it bounce. I don't know why. Maybe they report it. So if you send money through Cash App, I've already discontinued it. It's not going to go. So I don't have a Cash App anymore. I've said it live and I'll repeat it most of the time. So if anybody set up a Cash App on my name, that means you're paying somebody else. I've actually discontinued mine. And I only did it yesterday anyway. But you can still support us and we appreciate those of you that are doing so. We are still raising our 1 million. I never reached 1 million. So when I reach 1 million, I'll let you know. So Professor said that the Yoruba Nation delegation team that is smart is ready to negotiate. Yes, we have people that are ready to negotiate with Tinubu. Not negotiate to remain in Nigeria, negotiate to exit Nigeria. I know some of you have sent requests on the TikTok. I think I should be charging my backup. Because very soon this one will. How many hours? Like you said, 2 hours. So we just have about 3 hours window because I might want to come back in the night and I might want to go and take a nap and even if I don't sleep. So I need to, this, you see, this is my power bank for the iPhone 11. We'll go buy my iPhone 15 now. Nigerians should let the Igbo people, maybe they don't let them go. I'm about to do the M1. You see that, I'm going to take my charge. At least keep the finance. I've been standing up, I've been sitting all day. Assurance, Davido baby. Assurance, Davido baby. Assurance. Assurance. Davido. OBO. Ọmọ bàbá olówó, owó ti pọ̀ jù. Àwọn adélé. Now, as we are still on page 34, more contrary to the explanation here as much as possible on the referendum, which is going to be the option. This program will probably end about 2 o'clock. So we are still 40 minutes away into. My wife don't look at me and say, what didn't they happen now? This Baba. We're almost there. So we know that nations that are very, we hope Tinubu, we say, okay, Biafra in one go. Okay, I use my presidential power. I allow a referendum. Or more. The Igbo go, and then the Yoruba will remain there with Bola Tinubu. But Babakito said, no, that's not the way. If we appeal to the Nigerian government to organize a referendum for us, or to allow us to hold a referendum, they will not oblige. They will say, no way. Do you think that the present administration of Bola Tinubu will give us a referendum? Do you think so? Yes or no? Do you think Bola Tinubu will form a referendum? Do you think so? What do you think? Mr. Smith said, no. Okay. Mr. Idris, social media entertainment is distracting the youth so much to know the youth. So NetTech Electrical said no. Yami First Bank said no. Wow. Kenny Big Daddy no said no. Yami Yabo Olubumi said no. So that means a lot of us think that Tinubu cannot give us and it's capital no. Diamond, I want you to tell only no way. Sean said he's supposed to, but I don't think so. Even to about 8 years, if you even though we talk about 4 years. So you don't think that Tinubu can give us the referendum? Yami Grace solution to say no. APC we don't have any APC member on the platform that can back up Tinubu. Mr. Henry Jobi sọ pé no matter what he wants, ẹni tó fi no matter sí. Ọmọbọ́lá sọ pé afternoon gbogbo lé káàbọ̀ sórí ètò báwo lè ní Barika Jimoh. That means it's a big concern there. Alatikole ever, he will never. Yami Aduke, how to feel Yoruba call. He said power is being grabbed. But he grab it now. Go there for any referendum. So what is Tinubu going to really do for us? That is a big concern. I mean, the Biafra can say that he will not give, but I'm surprised that a lot of Yorubas are saying that Tinubu is not going to give us referendum. I know the Biafra, my brother and sister for Biafra, do you think Tinubu can give us a referendum? Just indicate with emoji of 100 if you're listening to me on the Twitter space. Do you think that Bola Ahmed Tinubu will give referendum? If you think it's not, put a symbol up there. Let me see. Those of you listening to me. Interesting. Wow. Yami Abdulkadir is about greediness and selfishness interest let him. Egbomi K ni Shetima and Co will not let him. Wow. So even if Baba Akintoye was pushing the referendum, I mean, this was written before Tinubu came to power, but they still work with Tinubu. Yeah, yes, if everything goes scatter, M1 here. That is what the Yoruba people don't like to hear. Everything scatter. Koiki must scatter and kick on. Koiki no scatter anything, no Yoruba land, no. Oh my God. Omole Moses probably though. True, it might. Mr. Fabs no. Likewise, Obi will not give the Igbo referendum. So why are disobedient? So the obedient want a working Nigeria then? Is that what they're looking for? Tokyo 788. I want to say money referendum. What I want to ask in referendum here. Tokyo never. They will rig it as well. Only they will rig it. Easy dollar. Only reprogram for where? Referendum for where? No app, no. Damn. That means Adi Leke sọ there is solid agreement between the Fulani and Tinubu. Only cut agreement here now. Tinubu only cut agreement here. Ako announce any. To ba ti announce, I know she mistake. I then call she. Kilero. Many people don't think so. Easy dollar moke. Kini baba mi Bashir atonda so wani Supreme Court will not likely to allow to accept the new evidence of Atiku that will give him the headway of becoming the president or to unseat Tinubu, but the Yoruba Nation referendum. Yeah, I don't think the Supreme Court will do anything. These people will never give us a referendum because they are the ones behind all our sufferings. That is where they make their money now. Mr. Smith said, let the Igbo people go. Silver Badmos. Kini so Akin Games and Comrade Plan B. Moki Bobo and she share back to back. And don't work out that Moki and don't title anything you're doing. I pray that Elidumare in Jesus' name and Anabi Muhammad will prosper it more and more. But the economy is not smiling at all. Nigerian economy is not smiling. Mr. Expo said, no, our leaders believe to rule over most popular African than the little nation country. Mr. Dukeni, the youth are watching the Supreme Court for their judgment. Okay, so that means after the Supreme Court, there might likely be some kind of, what the youth are going to do. Okay, interesting. All right, Ejekawa won't see. So that means Baba Akintoye not foresee either Mr. Femi. I mean, Buhari no one when this was written, but definitely it also applied to the new government. David Hamilton, bàbá àgbàlagbà, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa, oníjọ̀gbọ̀n, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi tó like ọmọ, kí lẹ sọ ẹ̀gbọ́n mi ẹni, it can only give each state autonomy and each state will have their own state police. Okay, that is good because we want security. I want security in the north, northwest. I want security in the southwest. I want security as well in the southeast, in the middle belt. But would that be enough if President Bola Tinubu, I mean, this is another angle from one of our media, you know, media, I know some of you don't like his own program, but I love it because, you know, it talks from another angle. We cannot all talk on the same, you know, page. And we've been together. He actually said that Tinubu can only give each state autonomy, and each state will have their own state police. Would that be enough to sustain us maybe for another 10 years, 30 years as Nigerians, if Tinubu actually do that? And if he does that, can another government overturn that? Because we've got to think about that. I don't think so. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. So the question to why Lori TikTok, Lati Akogun David Hamilton, I'm sure a lot of you know David Hamilton. You know, even though some of you are my Longi program, the only thing is if you abuse elderly people there, it will call you out. It can only give each state autonomy. Is that more than enough? Would that help us if Bola Tinubu gives us state autonomy? What do we think? Now that we have said that Tinubu cannot give us referendum, so we've actually put that aside. The question then is, because this is another point that Babakitoye wrote there, can we put, let me read it so that we have the graphs of it. Number 3, one of our organization, Egbe Omo Oduduwa, has proposed that we should ask our Southwest State government, I mean, people like me cannot go and ask them, because I don't abuse them. So I'm sure Babakitoye will go, because Koiki don't abuse every one of them every day. But if they are ready to give us a referendum in the state, I would definitely, you know, start talking about that. But that is not where I'm going. The question is, everyone, let me speak in Yoruba for just 10 seconds to get this out, because Omar Dulenu, ṣé àwọn gómìnà lẹ Yorùbá, ṣé wọ́n lè fún wa ní referendum? Because can organize referendum, because that is what he's saying here. One of the organization within the Yoruba campaign group called Egbe Omo Oduduwa has actually proposed that, I mean, I didn't read up to this before. I mean, last night I was very tired, but I was glad that I read this part properly. If you haven't watched that video I did yesterday, I'm going to end this one at 2 o'clock. Download it, go and listen to it. I read from page 1 to 35. It took me 3 hours. Part of what was said here, and this is why I'm discussing this, and I'm still going to elaborate more and more on this, because if we don't want to fight, nobody wants to kill each other. But can we go through the referendum? We have agreed that President Bola Tinubu cannot give us a referendum. Akongu said the state can give us referendum. It is only the state cannot. Akongu wala le dale listen yo. So in terms of anything, the state, I mean, even if it's just trial, not the one that will exit, but just try your luck. Because, okay, that angle you talked about, that state cannot organize referendum, it has to be federal. So what are we really going to do? How do we, Akogun, I know very well, is very close with Afenifere. I met them as well. I know where they stand. The stand is give us a restructured Nigeria, at least to the extent of changing the constitution. Mamami First Bank, do they have the power to give because of the constitution? So the chances of this number 3 that says, and I quote, we should ask ourselves, how many people have heard about this before? I mean, we should ask our Southwest State governor, let's start with Lagos. Hey, okay, make I call them properly. Maybe they will give us. So let me call them properly. Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, à ń béèrè fún referendum, ṣé máa fún wa ní referendum nílùú Èkó. Governor Dapo Abiodun, à ń béèrè fún referendum, ṣé ẹ máa fún wa ní referendum ní Ogun State. Governor Seyi Makinde, à ń béèrè fún referendum, ṣé ẹ máa fún wa ní referendum sà. Sà náà fún Dapo Abiodun sà. Sà náà fún bàbá wa Jide Sanwo-Olu Babajide, Governor Abiodun Adeyomi Abayomi Oyebanji, ìyẹn gómìnà Èkìtì State, ṣe máa fún wa ní referendum, à ń béèrè fún referendum sir. Governor Adeleke, Governor Governor Adeleke, ṣe máa fún wa ní referendum sir. À ń béèrè fún referendum, ṣe máa fún wa ní Adémọ́lá Adeleke, ṣe máa fún wa ní referendum sir. Governor Yaya Bello, Kogi State, ṣe máa fún wa ní referendum sir. Governor Fatai Abdul Fatai, Kwara State, ṣe máa fún wa ní referendum sir. Governor Akeredolu Rotimi bàbá àgbàlagbà, mo mọ̀ pé mo ti sọ̀rọ̀ sí ẹ má bínú sir, ṣe máa fún wa ní referendum, mo kó mo ti bèrè nísìn. Kí la Akọgun sọ? Akọgun ní, remember what happened in Spain, they can be persecuted. Oh, wọ́n ní táwọn governors yẹn bá dán wò. Okay, can our governor, our governor, Charlie bá Tinubu sọ̀rọ̀? Okay, His Excellency ní kí n pè wọ́n. Wọ́n ní His Excellency Abdulrahman. Okay, Abdulrahman ló wà níbẹ̀ ní sí ní Kwara. Ẹ má bínú, mo ti gbé lura wọn. His Excellency sir, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, we are asking for referendum for the self-determination of the Yoruba people. Are we going to be able to get it from you, sir? His Excellency Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, sir, is it possible we can be able to get a referendum in Ogun State? His Excellency, sir, Engineer Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, sir, we are looking for a referendum. Is it possible that we can get a referendum, sir? His Excellency, sir, Governor Ademola Adeleke, I love the way you dance all the time. I am one of your fans. Is it possible that we can get a referendum, sir, in Osun State? Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, the Baba Agbalagba of Amotekun in Ondo State, sir. Is it possible that we can get a referendum in the state? Governor Oye Banji Abayomi, His Excellency, sir, is it possible that we can get a referendum? Governor Yaya Bello, is it possible that we can get a referendum? And Kwara State. Now, if we cannot get a referendum from the state because it will be an illegal, can they help us to push for that referendum to the president that is there presently? Akogun said the governor can only lobby. It is the right word. The government, that is what our people want. So you can see that, asking for a referendum is also going to be a negotiation. Many people will not understand that there is no way that we can run. And in this 35 page, to be honest, Baba Akintoye wrote a lot that we need to be careful with our utterances, how we speak to political parties. They are still the one running the show. We might not really be pleased with them, even our obas, but I know that some Yoruba people, we are just upset and angry, and we have said a lot of things that some of them are like, èmi ni Koiki ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn. Ta ni ọmọ bó ni? Ẹ máa kí n tún gbà sí fún yín o. Ẹ mọ̀ pé mo ṣe bẹ̀ gbogbo yín nísìnyí. So ẹ jẹ́ kí n mú yẹn mọ́lẹ̀. Bí a tó bá dalẹ̀, tí bá padà wá lálẹ́, tó bá tanná lórí mi, màá tanná lórí tẹ̀yin náà. But on a serious note, asking for Yoruba nation, you will need everybody on board. But as much as we need everybody on board, I met ẹ̀gbọ́n mi wà níbà Akọgun. Èmi mọ̀ bí àwọn ti rí Baba Adébánjọ rí. I don't know. I met Baba. I know where some of our previous governors are on the Yoruba nation and where some are not, but it's not for public consumption. Èmi àti gbowó mọ́mọ́ bí tó bá wa one-on-one, right? Nobody, no security, no mobile phone. Baba and them open up fún wa. If we put the governor to M1, then we get what we need. Ẹ̀yin ó ní M1 yìí. Yẹn wọ́n dẹ̀ ti ń bèrè pé kí ni M1? Yeah, me comfort me more than upset, gone you. So, yeah, one more than upset. I guess what she's saying is that most of us are really upset. So that means the number 3 as well is not really balanced. We want the governors to lobby. That means those work cannot be in public domain. It has to be underneath. you know, irú àwọn akọgun á máa whisper ẹ mọ̀ pé àwọn akọgun àwọn àgbààgbà mídíà àgbàlagbà ọ̀dà bí àwọn young boy báyìí ẹ̀gbọ́n mi akọgun àwọn ti dàgbà àwọn ọlọ́mọ bá Ṣèyí Mákindé ẹ má dá Koiki lóhùn ẹ̀wọ̀n kan ọmọ kékeré ló ń ṣe Koiki ẹ fi sílẹ̀ bọ̀ àwa Yorùbá fi lọ ẹ bá Tinubu sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ bá nínú mo mọ̀ ẹ̀yin ò gbọ́ gbogbo akọ́lá máa wà ní the same page now ìbá ti mọ́ra ti pẹ́ nígbà tó ń ṣe pàṣẹ mọ́ra. So don't expect everybody and don't expect everything. I mean, like I said, mo mọ bí tí àwọn governors wà wà, but I've been told that this is not something that you go to the public at all. So, but I say to them, we pray that everybody will come on board. Number 4, because we are running out. I'm not going to be able to bring anybody in. Maybe later in the night, we will have conversation. Mr. Adi Sokwe, Nigerian economy is something else. So, because civil servant salary can purchase a bag of rice. They don't expect you to buy a bag of rice now. You buy quarter. With that small salary, you won't go buy a bag of rice. If you buy a bag of rice, how you go buy pepper? How you go buy meat? How you go buy other food? Koiki, a lot of lobby has been going on. Baba Akintoye has been in touch with Afenifere. Definitely, I don't think it's wrong to say that in the public domain. We must share mistake. Our Yoruba confession. They want us to accept what the woman is saying, that we are not going to negotiate. Look, America negotiate with North Korea. America. Donald Trump and that man, that guy where they with nuclear weapon, they met. So don't come and tell us we cannot negotiate. We will negotiate, but in a constructive way. And Yoruba people are intelligent. Like I said this morning in my broadcast, Baba Tinubu, start dissolution of the Nigerian military. Bring some of those weapons, bring them to Southwest, put some in the Southeast, put some in the Middle Belt. Everything go balance. Because what they've done for a very long time, the military, they move all the military. Some of you don't know that Lagos State was where the military architect of Nigeria was. They move it away after Babangida moved, to Aso Rock. So today, we must not accept Tinubu to remain there and not pull out some of those, machines. Divide it. I'm not saying put everything to Southwest. Divide it. If we have 3 fighter jets, like I said this morning, give one to Southeast, give one to Southwest, give one to the North. So if Kasala burst, everybody get one way we go take care of each other. As they killed our daughter, our beautiful sister, Tolulope Rotile, very painful. The first helicopter combat pilot. If we get 3 million AK-47, divide it, Middle Belt, Southeast, make every military barrack. All the military barracks in the Southwest, the Middle East are complete dry. Nothing there. All the military, we cannot go that side. My people go, they say, Mr. Koiki, are they one in the barrack there, then some will lay. I say, I guess Mr. Koiki, but we hope that Tinubu will move things around. That's all I would say. Yoruba people, where they there, and Shekiri people. Because by the time I finish this program, they're going to send me a message and say, Mr. Koiki, if I want to show you, show you now. If I come on, DSS. Anything me. If you know, that's London. I'm not coming to Nigeria anytime soon. I'm sure you all know that. I've told you, I'm not coming to Nigeria anytime soon. I'm talking ambassador, camera. And come to Nigeria, we will arrest you from the airport. I'm not coming. People like us can't come to Nigeria now. Akogun will come to Nigeria. Let Akogun go represent. Akogun only lolly. Okay. Now Bedu represent me. He might be do one meeting lano. And he Bedu lolly. I became heritage lolly. What an interesting time to be alive. Tinubu was there in London as well for 4 years. He ran away from Nigeria when Abacha won't kill him. Today now he's in power. Power is not forever. Tinubu is only there for 4 years. Only 8 years. 4 years to start with. Tinubu was in London with Dele Momodu. They were walking on the street. Dele Momodu started ovation in London. Just like me, Koiki Media is here. So by the time we get Yoruba Nation, you just set up a proper studio. If I offend the government, then we go to court. We have proper system, not the one where we go do something where they go send DSL, come destroy, carry laptop, laptop no, she ever this say, but I didn't get kara tuntun me, ni kara tuntun. But I think okay, no problem. Aziz, on any ma yo, si to ba ya, all about boy lashiri, about one laptop gidi jare, laptop get long. Mo ko ṣiṣẹ́ dáadáa. Le count to kun na. Ìyá mi kan náà tọ́jú mi dáadáa níjọ́ Sunday. Thank you so much, everyone. We're going to start winding down. The last number 4, we've literally talked about referendum. We'll open the phone line. I'll let you come through. It's a weekend. I can scream. I can shout. Yes, sir. Please, I am trying to come to UK. I don't do visa. I don't know about that too. I don't do visa. I don't do visa. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about visa. I beg. Me too, I get family, we won't come. But when you get to UK, Koiki, it is not everything I can. Oh, yeah, definitely. After the solo reform, Tabiri one-on-one. If you get to UK, you can call me. And people do call me. I can give you 1 or 2 information. And not, if any of my team say they won't do visa for you, or you're low, I don't do visa. I'm sorry. I don't know how to, me too. I don't know how I got here. I just got here in 1998, 25 years ago. I don't do visa. And I say this all the time because I know why. I am a public figure. I don't do visa. Yesterday, there are so many people, and Yahweh are very careful. Especially, I know there are criminals. They're watching us like this. Not you. We are going to do a Zoom meeting. We are going to send you something now, an ID. If you give them the number, they take over your WhatsApp. I was getting a message yesterday. They have the same template. These people are stupid anyway, but some people fall the trap. One ni, hello, mo rí pé mommy wa kan ní UK. Mo ní mi náà hello. Mo pe number yẹn padà, what any disconnect, because definitely tó bá gbé ohun ọkùnrin ló máa wà níbẹ̀. And that's why they're not going to pick. They're not going to pick the call. I've exhausted my transfer. So what I did was I called the UK line direct. Mr. Koiki, what's up, Minio? Let me say this clearly. I understand, not just anybody as well. Be very, very careful. I think I saw. Look behind there. The white one, is it? And the brown one. The brown one. Wow. But I'm sure I saw the white one. The program is coming to an end in just a few minutes. Don't accept anybody say, check your phone. You have a meeting. We have sent the Zoom ID. Nobody will tell you that we have sent a Zoom ID. They will send you a link for any meeting, and you click on that link, it takes you to the meeting. If you send the number back to them, a code that they've sent to you on a text message, forget it, you've lost your WhatsApp. They will take control of it. They will take control of it. So this is just an advice. And again, Nigeria is what it is. Be very, very careful. Many people are ready to dupe you. Somebody called me yesterday as well, day before yesterday. One of Spotify online trading. I don't understand what that means. The man put down $3,500 equivalent. He even sent the money through cryptocurrency. That money is gone. Be very, very careful. Things are very tough in Nigeria. Not that you don't have people that are still genuine, but if I were you, I would double check again and again. Yeah. Moki Babawa Adituoro TV. Emma Binu message in the comments in Eshegonisa. Mr. Timothy Adegun, thank you so much. Oyele Yekende, thank you so much. Matthias Olubenga, Taufik Irene Temi, a very beautiful name. Eshegoni Babawa Adituoro. Olasukomi Lawal, Babawa Prophet John we've done 2 hours 44 minutes, and we have to go now. Thank you so much, Mr. Olusegun. Kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ gangan now? Because I want to know, and what is really delaying and holding us. Well, nothing is delaying us. That the fact is, we are not yet fully prepared yet. So nothing is delaying us. Thank you so much, Akogun. I didn't know that you were with me tonight or this afternoon. I'll try and see if we can make it back again tonight. Even in UK, brother, I get called all the time, but where do they get our numbers from? Okay. Question, where do they get our number from? Some of them are also in the same group with us. There's nothing we can do. There's no way I can vet everybody that has a group, and somebody that is in that group will communicate with you behind the scene. And they have different burner number, or now number command loop. Please be very, very careful. I was still sent a message yesterday through somebody that we know in UK on the WhatsApp. Be very, very careful. The last thing is, if anybody is going to fraud you, you want to make sure that you've done your due diligence. Let us not get carried away. And it's not just about that, it's about so many things. Things are tough. Criminals are also advancing, and they are doing whatever it takes to make sure that they can rip you off of your hard-earned money. Because it might take your seriously. Some people have lost so much out of it. So we hope Tinubu will be able to put things off with the security in Nigeria at the moment before things will eventually fall apart. Nigeria is still operating, so we expect all the administrations of whoever is running Nigeria to protect you as well. I have to go now. Thank you so much. Barika Jima, what God cannot do does not exist. Inshallah, we will get to where we are going. Is one stage at a time. Somebody is already saying, Mr. Koiki, what is delaying it? Well, there's so many factors. It's not that easy since we're not fighting. So we have to take it stage by stage. The first thing is understanding of what we are doing. If you have the grasp, then it will be easy. I don't think Supreme Court will come out with any outcome for Tinubu. So that's just my take. Iyalode Janoff Otafat Bell. Thank you so much. I got to go now. If God's willing, we can make it back tonight. We will try. The late night, I beg you, go and watch it. I'm Nigerian. Shout out to everyone. Bye for now. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Akọgun, a sọ̀rọ̀ máa pè yín tí bá ṣe tán nísìn. Màá bá yín sọ̀rọ̀. Bye for now. Mo dẹ̀ kí àtó bí mi lọ́mọ náà. Happy Friday fún gbogbo ẹ̀yin sisters and Muslims around the world. Ìyá mi Comfort Ológunjà, salute ma. Bye for now. Thank you so much, everyone.